Giants have it. Lawrence Taylor struck the ball. Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
Welcome to the Hard Rocket Sports Studios and another edition of the weekly video recap. The March 31st show kicked off with another unusual.
With the players.
Come on, live direct from hell, final.
But hey, enough of my yakking. What do you say? Let's boogie.
And that would be my cue to start the show. Welcome to another edition of the Hard Rocket Sports Show, live from high atop Hard Rocket Sports Studios in beautiful scenic Monroe, New Jersey. We are your weekly 3-hour get-together. We bring you biggest news from around the whole worlds of hard rock and heavy metal. Of course, the wide world of sports. And guys, welcome to Thursday, April 1st, and this is no April Fool's joke. Jeff and I are live here, right in your living rooms or in your bathrooms. It could be anywhere watching the show. We're everywhere. We're digital. We're video. I think we're even reel-to-reel, maybe even cassette at this point. So I'm hoping you guys are hanging. You're having a good time, and I hope you had a great week. I'm not sure I did. What's up there, Patrick? Hey, Doug, Doug, we're waiting for the new stuff. But in the meantime, we played a little bit of From our guest, Turbo Snake, we got Ryan Thomas and Eric Rolifson. Hope I said his name right. Eric Rolifson, the bass player. Ryan's a singer. And we're going to have the boys on the show tonight talking about their EP, Big Things Coming. And it's great stuff. You're an 80s metal fan, especially the hair metal variety. You'll love these guys out of Canada. Love out of course, the RFL record label. So welcome to the show, Ryan and Eric, when we get them on about 7:45. In the meantime, we're going to celebrate baseball. Little Yankees opening day today. The Mets are canceled, but baseball's on the way, and that usually that means springtime and good weather, and it wasn't today. Cold, rainy start to the day, but we got a big warm show for you tonight. We're going to talk football, the Olympics, pieces of shit. We'll talk about the Giants, a little bit of NFL draft. Iron Maiden's a former guitar player, Dennis Stratton, was in the news a little bit this week. Let's see my notes. We'll talk a little wrestling with our favorite tag teams of all time. We'll talk NFL news and notes. Deshaun Watson, I don't know what to make of this whole thing. Hopefully Jeff can make some sense out of it for me. We'll break down baseball, especially the Mets and the Yankees. I'm trying to think. There's so much more. Let's see. Holyfield Tyson, we didn't get to last week. We'll get to that. I do want to tell everybody on April 25th, there's a big benefit at Big Nose Kate's. One of, I think it's all acoustic. Raul and our dear friend Jeff will get a little bit on that. Sound Slave's going to be back doing a little bit of a gig. I'm sure Jeff's pumped for that. We'll talk about that probably when Jeff pops up. We'll talk about the Super Bowl weeks. We're going to get a 17th game. Do we like it? Do we not like it? Boy, there's a lot to talk about tonight. Lots to get to, but we got to kick the show off. And I'm not even going to bring Jeff on with his 3-13 attitude for my New York Football Giants. He can kiss my ass. But in the meantime, let's get the show started. Let's bring on the backbone of the show, the guy who says it all but says nothing. He is, of course, my dear friend, Mr. Jeff Towinski. What's up, brother? What's up, Hefe?
What's up? You know what that means?
Yeah, it's not a gang sign, I'm assuming.
It ain't a gang sign, man. That's how many you're going to get by the end of the year.
Yeah, listen, maybe by week 4. Maybe by week 4.
3 losses by week 4, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so. But Jeff, listen, we got the show. It's April 1st. It's not April Fool's Day. We're actually live and doing the show. Jeff, how was your week?
It was all right. Okay, I guess.
Jeff,
could be better.
Everybody's asking, did Jeff get the vaccine yet? Have you got your appointment?
I'm not fucking getting that vaccine, man. No way. First of all, listen, Will Clark, I saw what you wrote. I hope that you will remain healthy, never battle the virus or ill effects from the vaccine. But if you brought it up, we got to talk.
Well, Will had the virus. He was locked up in a hotel room, I think, for 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. Well, he went and he got the vaccine, but I just can't see. A year ago, this hit the scene, and in a year they turned around and discovered a vaccine and are pushing it on everybody. And every which way you turn around, people are having side effects. Some Johnson & Johnson vaccine has been pulled off the shelves. Yeah, and I just can't see with a 97% recovery rate. I just don't see the point of getting a vaccine.
I have no interest in getting it. Okay, I'm mixed on it. And I don't want to do too long. We got so much to talk about tonight. There's so many things.
By the way, real quick, I'm not trying to talk anybody out of taking it.
No. I feel
you got to do what you got to do to make yourself feel better. But I just don't see the point with it.
Here's the mixed message. Yeah, exactly. Here's the mixed message for me. They tell it's like they think about this, Jeff. When we were kids, and even till to this day, I believe, to go to school, you had to get the measles shot. You had the mumps shot, the MMR, rubella, polio,
measles, mumps, and rubella.
Yeah, and then you also had to get the polio shot. So that's being forced to take shots has been going on for decades. But when you got the shot, you were done. Like it was, hey, you get the measles shot, you don't have to worry about it anymore. So you're pretty much glad to do it.
Well, don't forget something else too, Tom. By the time my thing is this, by the time we took those shots, they were already had studies and everything else on them.
Great.
They're making this, they're giving out the first rounds of this and doing it by the millions. And where's the study on this? How do you know what's going to happen to these people in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? You don't know.
Agreed. But here's the other problem I have with it. So you tell me I got to do it and we'll make the world a safer place. Fine. But what you tell me is you have to get the shot, but still wear a mask. Well, why? We don't know. We don't know what's going to, if you have to wear a mask anymore. So then why am I taking the shot? If I have to wear a mask anyway, why do I need the shot? I might as well stay with the mask.
And you can't be around people and shit like that and all
so
this other shit. So
that's my
what
point.
changed other than you got a shot?
It's the mixed message of the shot. Now, again, Jeff's 100% right. We're not here telling you not to do it. If you're comfortable doing it, do it. All I'm saying is I should have the choice to do it or not do it. So if Jeff and I want to go to a restaurant with 100 other people in it, and they require a mask to get, which makes no sense, to walk in and sit down without it, that's what we'll do. If you don't want to,
it's a scientifically proven fact. You cannot catch COVID if you're sitting down.
Correct.
You can only catch it if you're standing up.
Correct. COVID dies at 5 feet. So at 5 feet, or maybe 4 feet. At 4 feet,
Dominic will never catch it.
That's the truth. If you're Dominic running around out there, you don't catch it. So it makes it's the mixed messages that it sends. I get it that nobody knows, but why am I forced to take something that you're not sure if it's actually doing what they say it's doing? So
they're not forcing anybody to take it.
No. They are starting to, because there's like Rutgers now. If you want to go to Rutgers, you have to have it. There are certain airlines that are going to tell you have to have it in order to fly. So again, if you say to me, hey, you have to take a certain flight and it's going to cost you more money if you don't want to wear a mask, that'll be my decision to do. Okay, and get vaccinated. So, but if you tell me if you want to fly, you have to wear a mask, now you've restricted me for no reason, and that's the part that bothers me is. You're placing restrictions on something that you're telling me. Even if we had a whole flight of people who are vaccinated, we still got to wear a mask. Why?
Yeah, it's bullshit, man. It's bullshit.
Exactly. So I don't sit there and tell anybody not to do it. I just say, why are you forcing me to do something that even if I get it, I have to still live the way you're telling me to live?
How about this? Okay, we got to listen to people that saying that they're taking it, showing their pictures of the card and everything else. That's the latest Fed. And their stickers saying that they got it.
Yeah.
That's all well and good. Well, then if we got to watch that and see that, then people should be able to listen to us when we say that we're not interested in taking it. There's one guy that I argue with. He just keeps, whenever I say something, I say half the shit I just post just to get him going. I can turn around and tell him, you know what, I don't want to hear what he got to say. Because he's got to fucking say, well, it's safe, it's this, I got it. And I was like, I don't give a fuck if you got it or not. That's your problem. That's your business. Just like you shouldn't give a shit if I get it or not.
Absolutely. And again, I don't begrudge anybody who gets it. And if you don't want to be around me because I didn't get it, I understand it. And I will follow whatever rules I have to, which means if I go to a restaurant or a store and they tell me to come in, I have to wear a mask. But if you tell me, like baseball games, I love baseball games. But they're saying, well, if you don't have a vaccine, you can't go. Okay, you don't get my money then. I don't care. But everybody who went tonight got vaccinated. Let's say 20% in Yankee Stadium. So let's say that's 10,000 or 20,000.
It was about 10,000 people, they said.
Okay, so all of them got vaccinated. Well, if they got vaccinated, why did they need to wear a mask? Why did they need to be social distance? They got vaccinated. We're done. We're clear, right? But it's not. That's the problem I have with it. But let's not belabor it. We got plenty to talk about other than that, guys. Welcome to Thursday night edition of the Hard Rockin' Sports Show. Jeff Tawinski, Tom Florio, joining you for about 3 hours or 2.5 hours of some fun. We got a lot of great stuff coming up tonight. Again, I announced it before. We'll talk a lot of football. We got a lot of baseball. It's baseball opening day. Yankee lost, but again, it's still opening day. The Mets are off. We'll talk about Francisco Lindor. Was he selfish? Was he not selfish? Let's talk about contracts. We want to see you guys, all you baseball fans out there, give us your predictions for the Yankees, the Mets, who wins the World Series. Let's talk a little baseball early. We'll get my dad on in a second. But
look at this, Ron Keel.
Oh, hey,
Ron Keel, man. Nice to have him pop in. Thank you.
Absolutely, Ron. But a great guest and a great sports guy, Ron. We'd love to have you on. Come on before the NFL draft and let's talk some football with you, Ron. Please, we'd love to have you. But Jeff, let's get off the politics and social distancing and all that other crap, and let's talk sports a little bit here. And let's see, how do I want to go first? Real quick, Tyson Holyfield. We didn't get that last weekend.
We didn't miss much yet.
I have to tell you, I was a little pumped up for the Tyson Jones fight. I watched it. I bet on it. And now I feel like, do I want to invest the time and effort into what people are calling, the trilogy? First off, Holyfield won the first two fights. So it's not really a trilogy. It's not like it's 1-1, so to me, Jeff, why would I want to invest this too? Is this really going to be a fight? Am I really going to see a good old-fashioned knockdown, drag out 58-year-old versus 54-year-old, 55-year-old fight?
Yeah. First of all, with a combined age of like 113, these two fighters, we're supposed to. Somebody's going to pay for this and watch this.
People will.
Holyfield, he has the IQ of a bowl of oatmeal at this point in time. He couldn't talk 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You're going to have this guy get into the ring, whether the headgear or not, extra pair of gloves or not, doesn't matter. I believe in this situation, Evander Holyfield, I believe you're putting him at risk.
Well,
further injury, and I remember the guy who could hardly speak last time I seen him.
I agree. And Jeff, you know what? People are calling this sports entertainment. Is this world wrestling? I mean, world wrestling is sports entertainment. I know it's fixed. I know the outcome's predetermined, but there's fun to it. At least it used to be, not anymore. But this is supposed to be boxing. You're selling me this as a legitimate heavyweight fight by two legends.
I don't think that it could be passed on as a legitimate heavyweight fight. I think that if anything, you would have to say that it's an exhibition, a heavyweight bout, a heavyweight exhibition bout. I mean, there's no rankings involved. There's no belts involved. There's nothing involved other than two guys that probably burned through whatever money they had or were robbed of whatever money they had and are now boxing for the fuck of it. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Again, I understand the nostalgia part of it. Everybody wants to see Fight 3, but the Fight 3 should have happened 6 months after the last one, and Tyson wasn't any good in that one anyway. So, after he bit the ear, you could have had the third fight, and maybe people would have drooled over it. Maybe it could have been a $200 million fight for all I know. But now, I don't know if I want to invest the time and effort, but for the show, I might. But as a casual fan, and I'm not even a casual fan anymore of boxing the way it's gone, I just don't have any interest, and it doesn't seem to be the same drama as the last fight. And again, once it was over, you went, what bullshit. So Jeff, for the show, should we pay attention to this for the next 4 months, 3 months, whatever it takes?
I mean, listen, you want to read about it or watch a YouTube video of it, I think that's acceptable. As far as buying it,
yeah.
And you see that guitar is in the same exact spot as it was last week.
Well, that's right. No, dude, let me tell you something. That guitar got wore out this week. So
good. That's what I want to hear.
We picked up Sex Farm this week. We did a little bit of the ZZ Top. We did a little bit of that week. So it's definitely been a little bit of a impetus to push and practice. So
good. But back to the I just had to ask that. I seen it sitting there looking all lonely. I could see paying attention to it on some levels, but definitely not spending the money. The only thing that I could see, and I don't even think that this could be acceptable, is if you wanted to get a whole bunch of these older heavyweights and start a senior division or a golden era division, whatever you want to call it, and you want to have a belt, so to speak, and let them fight,
But it's got to be legit fighting, though. It's got to be a real fight.
Listen, if you want to put them, if you get guys that are in their 50s and 60s like this, and you put them in headgear and lighter gloves, and you let them go out, but they really fight, they really box.
Yeah,
that's one thing.
Absolutely.
But the way that you made the last fight seem, it sounded like we're going over this in the backstage, and there's Mr. Paul Gill popping in and saying hello.
Yeah,
haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, I was supposed to have lunch with Paul yesterday, but life got in the way. I couldn't get a chance to get off the job to see him. So maybe one day next week. And then, Paulie boy, are you coming to Joey's for some cards?
Yeah, I was just going to ask that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this, man.
But let's, guys, we got a lot of sports to get to. Opening day baseball. Come on, give me your predictions. How are the Mets going to do? Did you like the way the Lindor? You know what? I'm going to stop you. I would tell you, and we'll get to it a little bit after our guest. But I thought the Mets made a great offer right out of the gate. There was no pussyfooting around for the Mets. They made a great offer to Lindor. It paid him exactly where he needed to be, and the fact that he turned it down. Now, I get it. They signed it. He got more money. But I was a little ticked off about it. But the Mets got their player. They didn't have to go for the extra 2 years, which I thought was a death sentence.
Isn't it a 10-year deal?
It is a 10-year deal. He wanted.
So what difference does it make if they want an extra 2 years? 10-year deal.
It was the principle of the deal, Jeff, for me. But again, I want to get into that. I want to get my dad on.
Scary thought before you get your dad on the phone. Sure. I'll be almost 65 years old by the time that deal is finished. How's that?
Yes, it is scary. I know. Yeah, it is starting to get scary. friend.
Okay, and if he signs a second deal, I'm liable to be 70 by the time that one's over.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. But listen, guys, Hard Rock and Sports, we're here every week. Make sure on Wednesday nights, a little precursor to the Hard Rock and Sports Show, tune in to Talking the Fast Lane with our good friend John Mahefka and all the people down at RFO Records. It's an amazing show. You got to tune in on Wednesday nights for your music fix. And if you want to do sports instead, or maybe you want to mix and match, go to Pastor Mike with Mike Passamonte, Carl Graham, and JP. They're at 7 to 9 also, but they're on the Blog Talk Radio Network. So do me a favor, listen to sports or listen to music, either one, but do me a favor, listen to both and check out the shows. John and RFL Records, they got some great bands out there. Westlake and Svengali, and of course our guest tonight, the guys from Turbo Snake, After the Fall, Hydrogen. I'm sorry if I'm missing somebody out there just talking off the top of my head, but guys, RFORecords.com. They got great bands. I loved, if you like, wait till you hit Turbo Snake. That you heard the video tonight. Check them out. Good old fashioned 1980s hair metal. It's a lot of fun. I played one woman wrecking crew to open the show in the vid. Guys are great. We'll hit them on at 7:45. But let's get my dad on. Talk a little baseball, guys out there. If you're give me your thoughts. Mets a 90-game team. Can the Yankees get to 100? Who wins the World Series? Give me your thoughts before you get Jeff in mind. And we'll talk Lindor. We'll talk baseball rules. I hate the runner on second base. Plenty to get to. But let's get my dad on. Let's see what he's got to say. Just saw him a few minutes ago. What's up, Pop? Not much. I'm good, Dad. What's going on?
Not much. Watched the game today. It was a very good game. Just, same. They lost. It's a tough loss. But
they had the chance.
The only thing which I didn't know until I think today was there's no DH in the National League.
Correct. Because well, here's why. It's part of the CBA. So what happened was I think the owners wanted the DH. The National League, the Players Association said no. Okay, it's all part of a bargain agreement. So I think they wanted something. They couldn't come to agreement on it, so they just said, "Screw it. We're going to have it. We're going to have the pitches hit this year. They're going to renegotiate the CBA at the end of the year, and next year going forward, you'll probably 99% going to have the DH in both leagues." And let's be honest, who really wants to see pitchers hit in this day and age? Who really wants to see them?
You have some people that are, it reminds me of the, what do you call, Pepsi or Coca-Cola when they changed the recipe and everybody was getting upset about it and they couldn't tell the difference. And it's the same thing with baseball. Oh, you get the purists that they tell you, well, you want to have it, it's strategy. Come on. You got a guy batting 014.
Yeah.
And that's strategy.
Yeah, it's a dead spot in the lineup. It's just bad. Jeff, at this point, I've seen more pitchers get hurt just trying to run the bases than actually making a play in a game that matters as a pitcher.
Yeah, listen, man, I just think that it differentiates the two leagues, and I think that it stays the connection to old-time baseball, what's left of it. I think that it's something like they might as well just now make Major League Baseball and just put these teams in divisions and never mind National League and American League and just revamp the divisions. That's all.
Yeah,
it's like that already.
Well, yes. Well, division winners get in, two playoff, two wild cards, that type of thing.
It's the only league anywhere in the world that still has pitchers hitting. Even amateurs.
Yeah.
All over the world have DH now.
I'm not going to sit there and say it's bad for baseball. I'm not going to say that at all. I'm just saying is in this day and age where hitting and offense are at the premium, that's what they're trying to sell with. Nobody steals bases to give away outs. Nobody hitting runs to give away outs. To put the pitcher up to give away an out makes zero sense. Now, I get that the Players Association is digging their heels in to get something out of the owners for it, but it's regular baseball. So to me, nothing's changed. It's not like the runner on second rule, which I hate. It's not
stupid.
Yeah, there are other stuff that I don't like, and they're trying out some new rules. Did you guys see the new rules they're trying out in the minor leagues?
No.
I think it's Double A is. I made a list. Double A is bigger bases. Single A, they're doing 15-second pitch clock. I made a whole list of. There's a whole bunch of them.
What is the bigger bases for? What is that supposed to do?
I don't know. They didn't explain it. They just said that they were doing bigger bases. I'm trying to find my note on it. I made a note for that. Oh, let's see. So in single A, it's 15-second pitch count. Also in single A, limiting the pickoffs to first base or other bases. Triple A is larger bases, and in double A, no shifts. So they're trying out new stuff in the minors. Baseball's changing, and I'm sorry, I'm a purist. Don't change the game. If you don't like it the way it's played, don't play it. But baseball is going the way of exit velocity and launch angles. And I gotta tell you, so to me, if you're going to make any rule change in baseball, it should be to put in a universal DH.
Well, the other thing that you just mentioned, which to me made sense, was the clock.
Yeah.
Now, you don't need a clock. All the umpire has to do is not give you time when you step out of the box. If you step out of the box, the pitcher could pitch. You watch any of the old baseball games, any of them, very rarely will you see a guy step out of the box. Now, if I remember a few years ago, they had the clock, and it didn't work. It obviously didn't work. I mean, if a guy steps out of the box, you take Brett Gardner. This guy, he almost goes back into the dugout. He gets out of the could be a pitch every look. All you got to do is just tell the umpire tells the pitcher, keep pitching. Yeah. Keep pitching.
Well,
why don't they just make it an automatic strike if he gets out of the box too much? Just give him a strike.
You can do that too.
No,
but it's stupid.
But here's the thing. You know what? The umpire has the right to not grant him the time. So if Gardner steps out, the umpire says pitch. There is no time. The time is only granted by the umpire, regardless.
But they don't do that.
I agree with you.
It comes down to the commissioner.
I agree with you.
You got to pitch. Tell you, I've seen where a guy stepped out of the box and the umpire told the pitcher keep pitching, and they made a big hoopla about it.
Yeah, I don't see. To me, I don't want the batter so much, but I also don't want the pitcher walking around the mound after every pitch. I think there should be some sort of an impetus to get the guy to throw the ball in a reasonable amount of time. I'm not saying put a clock on him. I don't know how you do it properly, but after there are times in a game where you feel like it's the human rain delay. The pitcher's walking off the mound, he's rubbing the rosin. In a big spot, in a big game, I understand it a little bit. But I'm watching guys in the third inning, of a blowout, and the guy stepping off the rubber, he's pitch, throw the ball. We all know. So I don't necessarily want a pitch clock, but there's got to be some way to speed it up a little bit. Listen, I like baseball the way it is. It's been that way for over 100 years. Leave it alone. And, you can tweak it. Don't change it. Bigger bases is stupid. Now, the one thing I will tell you, the one thing I hate is I do hate the shift. But to me, here's what I would do. Just hit away from the shift, and you'll change. You'll change.
Why do you hate the shift?
Because you know why, Jeff? Here's the thing, and I understand the theory behind it. I feel like it takes away from part of the game, but then I say to myself, well, teams have always shaded up the middle, pull to one side. So in the end of the day, leave the shift alone. If you want to beat the shift or change it, just hit the ball away from the shift. So if everybody's playing it to the right, swing the bat to the left. Take the ground ball.
Isn't that exactly the strategy of the game? Is to doing exactly what you said. Everybody's going over to the right. They go over to the left. What do they hit the ball the same way that these guys are fucking lining? That's stupidity.
Tell them. I can't tell you times you hear the announcer go and hit the ball to the teeth of the shift, and you're like, dude, they're shifting. There's three guys on one side. The guy playing shortstop, just dribble one down third base. It's a base hit. So
they don't do that. You saw it the other day in the when what's his name was up for the Yankees, and I mean you got a shift on.
Yeah.
They have the whole right side open. They're pitching you outside, and the guy's trying to pull the ball. Now either he's dumb, either he's the dumbest ball player in the world. Because the idea for me is you had ball player one way or another to get on base.
Yep.
Okay. Now, if I'm a right-handed batter and the whole right side is empty.
Mhm.
I mean, holy, come on.
I get it, Dad. It's listen.
don't hit
It's,
that way.
it's just a different. It's a different game. Guys today are not trying to hit the other way or hit against the shift or guys are. It's launch angle. It's exit velocity, and it's MLB 2K video games. That's all it is. So hey guys, Hard Rocket Sports. That's Jeff and Tom. We're talking with my dad. It's Major League Baseball opening day. Yankees took the loss today, but a good baseball game. 3-2 loss to Toronto. They come back on Saturday. Mets, unfortunately. They're off today and tomorrow now because of some COVID issues on the Nationals. But if you're a Met fan, you're probably ecstatic right now because they signed Lindor. Conforto, I guess, is going to be in the offseason. I got to tell you, you guys paid Conforto $200-something million. You're out of your mind. I think the guy's a good player, but I wouldn't be tying up 10 years, $20 million on Conforto. I got to be honest with you. You still got to pay other guys, and I don't think your team's complete, but we'll get more to that after our interview with the boys from Turbo Snake. Make sure you guys come on back next Thursday night and the Thursday night after that. And, of course, on April 27th, when we do our NFL draft show, we will break down the entire draft as it happens, at least the first round or the first 10 or 12 picks.
All right, Tom. Enjoy your rest.
Thanks, Pops.
Good night, you and Jeff. Have a good one, and I'll talk to you over the weekend.
You got it,
Everybody
Pops.
Have a good Easter.
You too, Dad.
You and your family. Have a good Easter.
See you later, Mr. Florio.
That's my dad. He checks in every week with us, and it's a favorite part of the show for me. And Jeff and Tom here. Rocky, yes, Paul. There we are talking baseball, and let's continue that. But no, you know what? I want to come off of baseball for a few minutes. We're going to really get into baseball after our interview. Jeff, we got about 13 minutes before our interview with Turbo Snake. Deshaun Watson. I got to ask you about Deshaun Watson. This has to be one of the most confusing things I've ever seen. I think there's 20 people suing him and 18 people defending him. I got to ask the first question. How many massages does Deshaun Watson get? Think about this. If you were a massage guy, I don't know if you were, I know you massage things but on yourself, but if you were a massage guy, when you get self-massaging, you're into, I got it. But if you were a massage guy, wouldn't you find one person who you said, this woman's it. This is the woman I want. And you would go to her pretty much all the time. This guy seems to be a serial massager.
Dude, we are short, fat white guys that can't play NFL football.
Right.
We were lucky to find one woman that was lucky enough to touch our massaging units.
Yeah.
He is a multi-millionaire young man who's very full of vital.
He's vital. He's virile.
Oh, he probably is at his age. He probably is. He could probably get massaged several different times a day, and he's going to want different feelings, different techniques, all this good stuff. And so, what does he do? He gets different girls. Here's the thing that I don't understand.
God.
And I would love to have him on the show, and I'd ask him this one question and one question only. If you're looking to score, why not just get somebody to get your woman that'll do this? Like, you can't tell me that you can't find a woman that's just not going to, come in, do what she's got to do, and then leave. I find it's hard to believe that you got to do it under the guise of a fake massage, and then all of a sudden you feel this is fake rubbing them with your donga.
You feel this is fake massaging. You don't feel that this is real massage.
Well, I think that if it was a real massage, we wouldn't have 18 cases of women saying that, this guy pulls his junk out and puts it on my leg when I'm giving a massage,
Yeah, I mean, last week I had him convicted and being put away in NFL jail. Now I say he's got 18 people. So which one is right? I mean, here's the funny part.
There was another thing about the prosecutor in this case, or whatever you want to call him, says that the plaintiff, I guess, would be right. Plaintiff, not prosecutor. Plaintiff.
Yes.
Said that he doesn't want to bring it to the police. Mm-hmm. Because what was it? Deshaun Watson or his lawyer has somebody that works for the Houston Police Department or something sick like that.
Really?
And so I mean, now it's starting to maybe these aren't real cases in the first place.
That's the problem you're having now. Is that yes? That's the quandary. 2 weeks ago, last week, there were 20 people accusing him. You're guilty. Now they come out the thing. Rusty Hardin, who was Roger Clemens' lawyer for the steroid stuff, comes out and says, hey, I got 18 women who says he's the nicest guy in the whole world, wouldn't possibly do this.
Yeah, but then what about all the deleting of the Instagram messages and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's all part of the thing. But, here's the thing. If you're the NFL, I don't think you have a choice to suspend him. Now, is it 1 week, 1 year, 2 months? I mean, at this point, how does the NFL handle this? If it turns into lawsuits, this could be years in the making. So, how does
I mean, listen, you could end up. What happens if you suspend this guy? Okay, in the prime of his career, and you say, "Listen, you're suspended until this is, rectified and cleared up."
Yeah,
and then it goes through the whole year. It goes through a year and a half, 2 years before it's resolved finally, and they're like, "This lawyer lied. There was only 3 women. They all lied, and all of this other stuff." So to me, I don't know. You got to be careful with this. How can, in a situation that he beat his wife, there was just the 2 of them home, and this one guy beat his wife. The cops went there. His hand was full of blood. His wife's face was beat up. Quite obvious something happened. But in this one, unless there's a witness, how could you, throw the blame on this guy and say that he's got to be suspended already? Yeah. I just don't know about that one.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I agree wholeheartedly on it, Jeff. I just don't know how you handle it. But the NFL's got a lot of work to do on this. And listen. If he's guilty, the guy is basically a serial massage forcer upper,
a serial sexual offender.
Yeah, and if he's not guilty, and this is a hoax. Now, listen, I say this, and I don't know if he's guilty. And I'm not saying. In real world, or in the world I live in, where there's smoke, there's fire. So he had to have done something to somebody, whether it was innocently done or he did something to get one person. You don't just get accused that way without there being just a little bit of something. Now, did everybody run with it? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe the 18 women who say he was a gentleman, maybe they look like us when they massaged him. So he wasn't, you know what I mean? It could have been, I wouldn't want you to finish massaging me if you were the last finishing massager in the world.
Yeah, but you know what? Once again, though, Tom, you got to ask yourself the question, if this happened at the times they did, it's kind of recent, but also, why did you wait so long to say something? I don't understand this.
I agree. I agree. And Paul Gill, just for the record, I do not believe the Mets are better than the Braves. The Braves are a better team. The Mets pitching staff's questionable. I'm sorry. This is officially a year it's questionable. We still don't know the bullpen. And I want to see rebound years from McNeil, Alonso. Where do you play Smith? Is he going to be a detriment in the outfield? So while you're here, I'm telling you why I think the Braves are a better team right now. I think the other 2 teams that could fight for it is the Phillies and the Nationals. I do think the Mets are better than those teams. I do think the Mets can get a wild card, and it's all going to come down to the bullpen for me. The Mets are an 88 to 90 game winner. I do not believe the Mets will win 90 plus games. I do not think they'll win the division. Now, health is a big thing. Syndergaard coming back. Does Pretty Boy come back and actually pitch and win games? Who knows? But that starting staff right now, in my opinion, at this moment is a question mark. Stroman's a decent pitcher. DeGrom's probably the best in baseball. Peterson, you'll get. I don't know. It's not as clear cut as maybe in the years past. Which, So I got a lot of questions on the Mets. I think the Braves are still the team to beat in that division. Should be a lot of fun. That may be the best division in baseball. Maybe the best division in baseball. But 7:39. We got about 6 minutes before that. Jeff. So let's finish with Deshaun Watson. We did the. Well,
I'd like to rebut what you said.
On what?
Well, to Paul.
Go ahead. Rebut it.
Paul, personally, I would rather watch Jello Harden than watch the Mets. They're a Mickey Mouse organization, subpar to the New York Yankees, and no matter what they do. If they won 90 games, it would be the equivalent of the New York Yankees winning about 30. So, okay.
Jeff speaks. You know what, guys? You're getting Hard Rocket Sports. Jeff and Tom here Thursday night. You know what, guys? Tell me what I wanted to get my dad saying, and I forgot. What is your favorite baseball memory to date? Give me the first thing you think of when you think of baseball. A favorite memory, a favorite time in your life, or maybe a game or a situation. Give it out there. Let me know what your favorite is. I'll tell you, for me, the first thing I always think about is probably the first time I saw something big on the Yankees, and I watched it. 1976, Chris Chambliss hits the homer. I watched it under the door of my parents' living room. My dad was watching the game. It was late. I was 8 years old, I guess, 9 years old. And I watched the home run under the door. And to this date, it's always my favorite. But it would also be 77 watching Reggie hit 3 with my dad. And it was one of the greatest nights we had at that point. And that's a favorite memory for me. Jeff, you have a favorite baseball memory? Playing?
There's a lot.
Watching?
When I was watching baseball when I was a kid, like you said. And the one that really sticks out the most to me was Reggie Jackson in the hip in the 1978 World Series. And the whole 1978 year, really, because that was a year that I really followed it and understood the game. And Ron Guidry having an incredible historical year as a pitcher. The New York Yankee team coming with everything that went on with them, with switching managers and announcements of all managers coming and going. A lot of different things happened that year. And the Yankees ended up winning. Bucky Dent hitting a massive home run that who would ever have thought that he would have been the one to get the Yankees over the hurdle. So I would have to say probably the entire 1978 baseball season for the New York Yankees would be very memorable to me.
Nice. So come on, guys. Let us know what your favorite baseball memory is. We're here at Hard Rockin' Sports. We're every Thursday night. Remember the draft show coming up on April 27th. Don't forget tonight, we're still going to get to John Mara, owner of the Giants, has some great words for his team. We'll talk about the NFL going to 17 games. What's it mean to the locals? We got NFL. We got some big NFL trades last week. The Dolphins moved down, then moved up. We'll talk about that. Iron Maiden's former guitar player, Dennis Stratton, had a little something to say about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Francisco Lindor's contract. The draft returns to normal. Baseball opening day. Holy cow, we got so much to get to. Our favorite tag team wrestling and so much more. 69 match, good for you. Where's Hefe? I got a little private. Okay, go ahead. Right now, Jeff. So if you want to make your move, make your move. All right.
They're coming on now?
Yeah, I'm going to switch over. We're going to bring on our guest a little early. I've been sitting there hanging a little bit. So I'm going to take a second. We open up the show tonight.
I will be right back.
We open up the show tonight with a little bit of a video. We've doing it every week now. And from Turbo Snake, it's their single. I don't know if it's a single, but I found the video on YouTube. And I love the new EP, Big Things Coming. I played a little bit of One Woman Wrecking Crew for our guests that are about to come up. So right now I'm going to bring up Ryan Thomas and Eric Rolofson. I hope I said that right, Eric. And they are from the band Turbo Snake, new to the Eric. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, Eric Thomas. Oh my God, Ryan Thomas. I apologize. I'm thinking of a friend of mine, Ryan Thomas from Turbo Snake, along with Eric Rolofson. They are new to the RFO Records label, and they're new to the Hard Rockin' Sports Show. Let's welcome the boys on from Canada, and there they are. There's Ryan, and there's Eric. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Hey, Tommy, how you doing, man?
I'm good. Right off the bat, I'm a little confused. Eric, I understand you're a basketball fan, and you're a Toronto Raptors fan. What's with the Lakers shirt?
I was a Lakers fan first. Growing up in Canada, everybody else liked the Raptors when I was growing up, so I had to be a little different from everybody else. So I was a Lakers fan first, but now I just root for the home team. I can't help it. And of course, it was awesome to see them win the championship in 2019. But this is the only cutoff shirt I had, the Lakers one, so I wore it.
Okay. Hey, before I go too further, Robert Finelli, congratulations on getting tickets to the opening day of the Nets next Thursday night. So good mention. And yes, anything for Robert to opening day. Rob's a big opening day guy. So boys, welcome to the show. I appreciate you coming on. It's a lot of fun having you on. I will start say first, I'm a big fan of RFL. So I always give the bands to coming through RFL a little bit of a extra listen. But it was easy. The EP is fantastic. It got a little bit of everything in it. Some hard driving stuff. You got a little bit of ballad. Ryan, give us a little background on the band and the new EP. Come on, guys. Tell me all about it.
All right. Sounds good. Eric and I, we became buddies back in 2008. We started a tribute band called Fisted Sister, and we were playing all the old 80s rockers, Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, Skid Row, The Poisons, all that kick-ass shit. When COVID rolled around, we were both playing in some bands, and of course everything got locked down, and that was the end of shows. So he gave me a holler and said, "Hey, what do you think about putting an album down? Let's make some rock and roll, and hey, let's kill some time this way." And so we came out with the original EP there with Big Things Coming, with just the 3 songs on it, and I thought it kicked ass. Like he sent me a couple of things over, just the tracks with the music behind it, and I wrote some lyrics over top of it. And those were our first 3 tunes that we belted out, and both of us were just, off the charts happy about how things turned out. We thought, hey, let's keep this train rolling, baby. So we got another 6-song EP coming out shortly with the RFL guys, and don't mean to toot our own horns, but the shit that's going to be coming out, it rocks, man.
Well, I have to tell you, it's refreshing to hear guys playing this type of music. But Eric, I'll ask you the question. The established bands are having a hard time gaining any more traction. They're out there still, the Poisons, and then Poison not too much, but Skid Row and a lot of these bands are still out there trying to do their thing. What made you guys go this way? Which is a tough road to handle for the established guys. Trying to gain some steam now. What made you guys go this type of genre?
Well, I had a lot of fun doing the cover stuff with Ryan and Fisted Sister. And I just wanted to see if we could pull it off. Really, like the legit '80s sound. He always did a great job with Fisted Sister, and we did our first track, and it was awesome. So we just carried on with it. Those other bands, they changed with the times though. Mm-hmm. They had their sound in the '80s, and we don't want to modernize our music. We want to stay back there with that sound. And I think
that is important, Eric. You're right. I'm sorry to cut you up, but you're 100% right, because back in the '80s, I'll tell you, I grew up. Jeff and I were big Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. Jeff's a huge Sabbath fan, Pantera. I graduated to the let's call it quote unquote hair metal later in life a little bit, but what I do relish today is bands who play the music, who stay with it and keep the sound and don't try to change the world because it worked for you then. Why you can
AC/DC, man,
huh?
AC/DC. They haven't put out a different fucking album in like 30, 40 years.
But it all still
it's the same album over and over and over again.
But you know what? You buy it, and you know what? Listen, I applaud that one. That's a great one to do. You get other bands who kind of try to change who they are, and most bands don't even want to put out new music anymore because it just doesn't sell. The other one who's like that is Def Leppard. Def Leppard just gives you the same old, Now I don't necessarily consider them hair metal or metal, but that's another band who survived the '80s Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and their albums are basically all the same. They never change, and that's what works for them. And I applaud that. Even though I'm not the hugest Leppard fan now, my favorite one is the very first album that nobody listens to. But I think it's fantastic. And so, but Ryan, let me ask you, in Canada, is there a market not only for the music but for the band to play? How do you gain steam and traction with people that way? Is there a market for you guys?
Well, I think there is, because I'm listening to a lot of music coming out now, and to be honest with you guys, I'm not impressed with a lot of the shit I'm hearing these days. It's depressing. It just does nothing for me. And all I can think back to is the party tunes of the '80s. They were, hey, let's party, let's go crush some beers and meet some chicks, and they were great tunes. And everything now is, I'm pissed off at the world, and this sucks, and my mom made me clean my room, and oh man, woe is me. So I think it's time to get back to, hey man, life is short and it kicks ass, and let's write some tunes about shit like that. Up here in Canada, music scene's pretty good. I mean, right now it sucks because we can't play. We've just gone into we're going into another big lockdown starting this week, and I'm not exactly sure how you guys are doing over there, but music playing live right now is just non-existent. So this has been honestly a great time to work on this album. So this, and lots of support. All our buddies love it, and they're like, yeah, you guys have hit something here. We're starting to get a little bit of a following from some people around the globe, so it's kind of awesome.
No, I agree. I tell you what, guys, I listened to the other day when Doug sent me out the stuff. I listened to yesterday on the way home, and then before the show, I went through the EP again, and I love it. I think it's really good. It's got a great melody to it. And you guys seem like a fun band, which is really what you're looking for, especially in your genre. You're looking for a band that goes out there. The music's fun, and what they portray in their style is fun. And you guys got that. So I'm a fan already, and we love having you guys on the show. Again, that's the boys, Ryan Thomas and Eric Rolfson from Turbo Snake, here with Jeff and myself. So guys, so you got the EP. You said you got another 6th one coming out. What's the future? Give me some quick. Where are we going? And when's the album going to hit the streets? Are we going to get any sort of music? You guys going to come to the States and play? No, you guys can't come here now, right? You guys are kind of locked in, right? You're not allowed to come out here.
So we're putting like the finishing touches on our 6-song EP right now, and then we gotta basically do a design for the CD, maybe shoot a video, and then it'll be ready to be released. As far as touring, we got to wait until the borders open. Who knows when that's going to be? Hopefully by the end of the summer, we can get down there and maybe join the RFL guys down in Pittsburgh for a gig or something, and do a little mini tour or something.
Yeah, I've been after John. With all the bands RFL has, they should just do their own showcase. I mean, they really should just do their own festival. Come up with something and get all the bands out there, and do it 2 days if you have to. And you got enough bands to get involved. I'm all for that. So I volunteered to help out. So that'd be a lot of fun. But guys, listen, this is the Hard Rock and Sports Show, and I know you guys are both sports guys, so I want to throw a little in there. First, Brian, I'm going to tell you, you got a little bit of lineages, a little bit of athletes in your family. Is it your uncle, Reg Thomas? Is that who it is?
Yeah, Reggie. Local hockey player. We're over in London, Ontario, which puts us halfway between Toronto and Detroit. Played his junior hockey here for the London Knights. Then went on, had a great career in the WHA back in the 70s.
I 300 points in 3 seasons for the I think it's the Quebec Nordiques. Yep. Actually in the NHL also, right? Yeah, 39 games in the NHL for the Quebec Nordiques. That's not bad.
No, he. I think I was looking at it the other day. Number 62 all time for leading scorer in the WHA, which is pretty impressive. He's got super cool man cave in his basement with all his old WHA jerseys up. He played for the LA Sharks, Cincinnati Stingers, the Indianapolis Racers. He played with some fantastic hockey players, and I mean, you sit around and have beers with him and the boys, and some of the hockey stories that come out are just fantastic.
Hey, well, let me tell you something. Maybe we get closer to the Cup time. We get you back on. You bring your uncle with you. We'll have a little fun.
That sounds good. That sounds really good. He loves to shoot the shit about hockey, and I have watched rooms just stand still listening to him tell stories. So for sure,
I'd love to hear that. And also, I did see something else on your bio where you build sports games. Tell me a little bit about building sports games.
Hey, I'm probably the world's oldest 12-year-old. I love making all kinds of games. I don't know if you guys would be familiar with this game. There's a game that was invented up here in Canada called Crokinole, and it's sort of like a board game version of curling. And it inspired me to make baseball and football and hockey. And I'm kind of hoping at some point down the road, maybe to pitch them at some toy companies and see if there's any interest to get it to market. I'm a dude, and we're
a Turbo Snake podcast.
Yeah. Calm down. We're dudes. We do one thing at a time. So right now I'm focusing on the music, and that's sort of where we are with that.
Yeah, well, Jeff's a professional curler, right, Jeff? You were a professional curler, yes.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Playing since I'm 8.
Well, listen,
that's amazing, man. I tried it. I've only tried it like 3 times in my life, and the guys that do it and the women that do it make it look so easy until the first time you try it and realize how difficult that sport actually is.
It's funny. I've you laugh at it, but I've watched it in all the Olympics. I watched, if for some reason I'm mesmerized by throwing this stone on the ice and trying to figure out the strategy of it, and I haven't been able to. It's kind of like cricket for me. I watch cricket sometimes, and I have no idea what the rules are. Guys just run back and
to see how far you could get the stone to go, right?
It's like a target thing. I think you got to get the stone.
You got to get as close to the target as possible.
Knock the other guy out. I think it's kind of like bocce ball in the Guinea world.
Like
in the Guinea world. Huh?
Sperm and the egg thing. You gotta Get it in there.
I guess you just got to fit it in there. Jeff has a big problem fitting it in. He's that kind of guy. He's that kind of guy, right, Jeff?
Yeah.
All right, Rocket Sports, Jeff and Tom. We got Ryan and we got Eric from Turbo Snake. Their EP is currently out. It's big things coming, but there's a new one coming on the RFO Records label. So make sure you guys check it out. Also, Wednesday nights, make sure you check out Talking the Fast Lane with our good friend John Marhefka and everybody down at RFO Records. They do an amazing job on Wednesday nights. So when you're gearing up for Thursday, start out with Wednesday night, 7 to 9. Listen to Johnny, get some great guests, does an amazing job, and the bands are all part of the show. It's a lot of fun. I listen every Wednesday night. I got home a little late last night. I only got to catch a piece. But here at Hard Rocket Sports, we love RFO Records, and we love Talking the Fast Lane. So make sure on Wednesday nights, when you're gearing up for us on Thursday, check out Talking the Fast Lane with our good friend John Marhefka and everybody down there. So, guys, also, I got to get you a little bit about basketball while we're at it there, Eric. So your squad this year, though, it's been on a little bit of a let's call it a downslide since the championship. A little bit of a downslide since the championship. No more Kawhi. Give me a little bit of a second half report on your Toronto Raptors. We got it. No chance, but what does the team look like this year?
Well, this year it's not looking good, but I'm fully leaning into the tank completely. I think Masai has made a good choice not picking up one of these centers on the buyout market because you don't want to come out and admit you're tanking and you're not going to tell your coach that. But I think that the reason why we haven't picked up the center we desperately need is we're leaning into the tank at this point. We're 11 or 12 games under 500. And at this point, let's try to get a top pick, which we haven't had in a long time since fucking Bargnani. That didn't work out so well. But, if we can get one of these if we get in the top 5 in this next draft, we're up and running again. We got a great team that has a lot of supporting pieces that would be great for a number 1 guy like Cade Cunningham or Jalen Suggs. And hopefully we can get a top pick. That'd be great.
Do they re-sign Lowry or they move on from Lowry? What happens there? Does he stay?
No, I don't think so. I think ultimately they try to sign and trade him. I think the offers weren't quite good enough to trade him at the deadline. But if you can, there's a lot of teams without the cap space that might be willing to trade you some assets in return for him in the offseason in a sign trade. I think that's what they're hoping to do.
So do you follow the rest of the NBA or is it strictly just the Raptors? Again, I'm going to ask you for your pick. At this point in the season, there's good teams, there's bad teams. I like my Knicks playing good basketball. Are the Nets the team to beat? Are the Lakers when LeBron gets back? Are they the team? Is Milwaukee going to finally step up? What's your thoughts? Quick, who's the team? Who's the team standing at the end?
God, it's tough. I think it comes down to the Lakers and the Nets, though. It's so questionable, like the health of Anthony Davis and Kevin Durant. If Davis can't come back at 100%, then you got to pick the Nets, and it's the same for the Nets. If I don't know, I think Durant, he seems to be a little further along than Davis at this point. So I'd probably say the Nets at this point. Like they're killing it with just Harden, really, and nobody wants to vote for him for MVP, but he's not going to give him much of a choice, I think.
Yeah, listen, I'm not a big fan of how they put that team together. I mean, I guess listen, you're a basketball team, you're out there to win. You're gonna, and if you're a fan of the Nets, you're not gonna complain about it. But I also don't like the fact that Kyrie Irving plays when he feels like it. Durant was supposed to be out for 2 weeks. It's going to be 2 months. I'll give Harden credit. The guy shows up to play every night, so I'll give the guy credit. So I almost don't care. Although I start to see my Knicks playing a little better, they're at least competitive, and I like the way Thibodeau's got them playing. So I agree with you. I think it comes down to those two teams, Lakers, Nets, and at that point, I hope the stadium blows up and nobody wins because I hate both those teams. But Ryan, you're laughing, but your Red Wings have taken a big swoon themselves. It's not pretty. Not pretty. If you were coaching, I know you coach your daughter's teams. If you were coaching the Red Wings or you were taking over, what would you do? Come on, how would you fix the Red Wings at this point? You bring back Steve Eisman and the
Yes.
Russian Five.
We got Stevie Y back in there. Stevie Y made Tampa Bay. He wasn't there for the Cup there, but that was his team he put together. Give the Red Wings a good 3-4 more years. We're going to suffer for a bit, but we got some good kids coming up in the system, and they'll do all right. And we were spoiled for a quarter of a century, so I think every franchise in any sport anywhere would take what the Red Wings did, and you got to suffer for a couple now, so they'll be all right.
Yeah, no, listen, listen, you can't complain. Once they brought Shanahan in and they brought somebody else who was the second guy to that franchise, but with Fedorov, just the Russian Five, that was a great time for hockey. I was a big fan. I'm a Ranger fan, but I loved the Red Wings during that time. Yzerman, Shanahan, all those guys. That was a lot of fun watching that team play. They played great hockey for a good amount of years. So good for you. That was a good one. But you coach hockey too, right?
Yeah, I do a little bit of coaching. It's funny going back to the whole family with some decent athletes in the family. My old man was a great hockey player. He should have gone to the NHL.
So what happened to you then?
Yeah, I'm going to get to that asshole.
It's a great question. You got to ask a great question.
And the joke in the family is that I'm possibly the milkman's kid. And so when we're playing hockey out on the pond over here in Canada, they just make me sing the national anthem before every game, and that's about all I do. But I can coach it. I can tell the kids what to do. I just don't do it very well. So do it not as I do.
So listen, not everybody is a star with a stick in their hand. It's an acquired thing. I tell you, hockey again. I grew up watching and playing most sports and all of them. And hockey was probably my favorite to play, although I wasn't the greatest hockey player. It was just so much fun to be out there and doing your thing. But it's so. I just have my Rangers have been so bad for so long that I kind of faded a little bit. But I'll be back, and they're looking. They're young and they got some talent. So we'll see how hockey works out for this year. But guys, let's see what happens now with Turbo Steak. How does Turbo Steak go through the rest of the year? It's a new album. When do you think you're kicking it out?
Probably early summer. We just got to get our videos done after this lockdown is over, and then give RFL Records a little bit of run up time to do some promotion. And I think by early summer we'll be up and running.
We're doing a lot of recording around here tonight as well. So after we're finished talking with you guys, listen to the rest of the show. We'll go down and do a little bit of recording and pump some stuff out. Hey, if you guys don't mind, I wouldn't mind asking you guys a sports question.
Fire away.
How's it work for you boys being over there in New York? Do you like all the New York teams? Do you like the Yankees and the Mets? Do you hate one of them? Do you like the Jets and the Giants? Or how's that work, G?
The Giants. I'll go on this one first, Tom.
Good.
The Giants suck. That's all you need to know. The other sports teams are all cool. The New York Giants suck. It's said right there.
All right, so you'll tell. I'm a Giant fan, which I got my Giant blue on tonight. Jeff is a Jet fan, long suffering Jet fan. Ryan actually is a New Orleans Saints fan. Drew is gone. That franchise will hit the skids. Screw them. But that's a whole different story. It's tough. Like, I don't root for the Mets. I don't normally root against them. I root against Met fans sometimes. And I think that's the way it kind of works here in New York. Because the Mets will be 10-2 in April, and Met fans all of a sudden the Mets have just won the World Series. And then
that's a big thing with Met fans. The season starts in April. Usually by April 15th, they're planning their parade down the Canyon of Heroes. Happens every year. They go on a 3-game winning streak. That's it. They're the greatest team ever in the history of Major League Baseball. They're going to win everything for the next 700 years. It's all about the New York Mets. And then they just collapse. It happens. He's 100% right. He can't get it any better than that.
Yeah, and as far as the Jets-Giants thing, I don't even pay attention to the Jets. They have no consequence to my football. Great storied franchise.
Even though the New York Giants and Jets have had the same record, they've each won the same amount of games in the last 4 or 5 years. They suck.
You see the titles on the wall, my friend? Look at the titles on the wall.
You guys are from Canada?
Your Super Bowl trophy's made of wood.
You guys are from Canada, right? Tom, the only thing these two guys know about football is Warren Moon. That's it, bro. They don't know anything about Lawrence Taylor and the Giants. They don't know who Lawrence Taylor is, dude. That's like me saying Joe Namath. They don't know. It's not their fault. Gordie Howe, right? Watch their faces light up. You say Gordie Howe. See?
Gordy of the elbow. Gordy, tough bastard. But yeah, listen, it's not really tough in New York. You really don't normally. I would tell you the one team that has a major, not so much anymore, but Rangers Islanders. If you're a Ranger fan, you hated the Islanders growing up. You just, to this day, they do the Potvin chant, and that's the one franchise I would tell you that the teams and the fans hate each other.
Right.
Rangers Islanders. The rest of them, it's, the Knicks and the Knicks, the Nets and the Nets. Right?
The Islanders are looking pretty good this year, though. So,
I would say.
So, do you hate them then, Tommy?
No, it's fun. Again, the Islanders were so bad for so long, and the rivalry kind of died. And hockey rivalries in general, I think, have died a lot lately.
Yeah.
Hockey is the one sport where I think taking away the toughness, taking away the tough guy, the enforcer, taking the hitting out of hockey has kind of taken away from the
allure of the game.
Yeah, well, just the rivalry sense of it. It used to be if you're a Ranger fan, you hated the Washington Capitals. I hate them now because of Ovechkin, but you hated the Islanders. You guys went in there and they beat the crap out of each other, and the fans hated each other. I mean, how many Rangers got Ulf Nielsen got his career? Was it Ulf? Yeah, Ulf Nielsen got his career changed by hit by the Islanders. So I don't hate them now because I just think it's a different time. But growing up, if you were a Ranger fan, you hated everybody who played the Islanders. Didn't matter if they were in your division, you hated the Islanders.
The hockey is definitely the fourth sport here.
Yeah.
In New York, without a doubt. Without a doubt, it's a lot different here in the States than where you guys are. We're just as I would imagine. Baseball is probably a lot different for you than it is down here for us, or football.
Well,
it's not an easy. You know what it is? It's not everything that Tommy said is 100% right, but there's no place for us to play hockey down here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a hard sport to play. You need a place. You can't go running after the puck down the street all the time if you're playing in the street. It needs to be a contained area. And down here, we don't have those areas for kids to play. So, when the Rangers won the Cup back in '94, it was a big, huge thing in New York. And then every year it just slowed down a little bit, especially since they haven't won anything since '94.
Yeah.
But, if they were to win again, it'd be the number one sport again. Guaranteed.
Well, that's the same up here with the Blue Jays when they won the back-to-back World Series there. That was awesome. That was pretty exciting times up here in Canada. They've sniffed at it a little bit. I'm a Detroit Tigers fan, but 95% of the people here in London are big Jays fans, and they really follow them. It just gets a little tough in Toronto with the dollar and how contracts work. They get guys in there. It's almost like once they start getting their career going, they can't afford them anymore. They're out the door. So it's a little frustrating to be a Jays fan that way.
Yeah, again, I think the Jays had their run, and they're one of those teams. I think this year that they've made some changes. I love. And again, I'm not a Blue Jay fan. They play the Yankees, but Biggio, Bichette, they brought in Mats, who we'll see how Mats works out for them, but they'll be competitive. They beat the Yankees today, opening day 3-2. But an interesting franchise and one of those teams. Back in the 90s, you're right. The Joe Carter home run, one of the most exciting games in baseball history. I mean, just an amazing game. And Blue Jays are a consistent team, and we'll see how baseball getting started tonight. We're talking baseball right after this. But right now, let's wrap it up with our good friends from Turbo Snake, Ryan and Eric. And make sure, again, you go to rforecords.com and you keep up to date on all the bands, but including these guys, big EPI. Hey, real quick. So now everybody else seems to be putting out CDs and dribs and drabs, the EPs and dribs and drabs, releasing singles here and there. Is that the strategy, or are you guys going to go one fell swoop, getting the whole thing out to everybody in one shot?
Yeah, it seems. I think we're just going to do EPs as we kind of just more releases, I guess. Rather than doing an album every year and a half or 2 years, we'll just pump them out every now and then sporadically. Maybe eventually compile them into one unit so you can have a good listening experience. But yeah, I don't see. I think the need for people don't listen to music the same way they used to, you know?
Yeah, and that's the part of the problem. It'd be great for you guys to pump one out and get out there and back it up and play. But hopefully, things will get ease up there for you guys, and it'll get better. You guys will be able to cross the border. And like I said, John, if you're still listening, we want an RFO Records showcase festival. All the bands, we want that in the summertime or in the fall. And of course, me and Jeff will make the trek down from Pittsburgh. So,
hey guys, thanks so much for having us on tonight. Really appreciate it, boys.
Absolutely, guys. Anywhere that people can find you. I know you guys are on Facebook. You guys, I know there's no website yet, but you can go to RFORecords.com. Any place else that guys, Spotify, I know places to find you guys. Where can people get you guys?
Yeah, you can get our stuff on all streaming platforms: Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music. I think you could even buy CDs off Amazon. They'll print them off for you. We're on Instagram, Turbo Snake Band. That's about it.
Then coming with the RFL boys shortly as well.
Yep.
Well, listen, guys, I wish you guys good luck. Please stay safe up in Canada. Please don't be a stranger to the show. We love the music, and we're big supporters now of Turbo Snake and, of course, the RFO Records label. So anytime you guys want to get on, let us know. And, again, you want to bring Uncle Reg out, we'd love to talk to Uncle Reg and some of his 1970s WHA hockey stories. Maybe a little he can enlighten us a little bit.
For sure. Cheers, boys. God bless.
Thank you.
That's Ryan. That's Turbo Snake, guys. Be good. Take care of yourselves. We'll talk to you down the road. Take care, boys. All right, Jeff. That was a lot of fun. The boys, they sports fans. It's always fun when they're sports fans. You kind of mix and match it a little bit. Good question on the New York thing by Ryan. I thought that was a pretty good question.
Yeah, it's curious how other people think and perceive.
Sure.
New York sometimes when you get somebody like that, especially. I mean, evidently they're from Canada, so it's a different country's perspective.
Yeah, it is. It's different than his uncle. Actually, was a pretty decent hockey player. He played little NHL with the Blackhawks, a little with the Nordiques. He played the WHA, 300 points.
And you said, well, wasn't it the WHA? Or
yes,
was it
WHA.
WHA or
yes.
WHL?
WHA, World Hockey Association.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I thought it was then. He said WHA. I thought it was WHL.
No, WHA. Yeah, that was that. That's where guys like the Edmonton Oilers came from. Most of Gretzky and Messi, and they all played the WHA.
Yeah, the whole Edmonton Oilers team that came in and killed the NHL for 4 years in a row came from the WHA or whatever the fuck it is.
Yep. So yeah, his uncle's pretty. Like I said, 300 points in 3 years. That ain't bad, man. 100 points a year is pretty good hockey.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, guys, we're still hanging in there. We're going to get to some baseball. I want to talk to Jeff about Francisco Lindor's contract and all of that. But again, remember, come back next Thursday night. We do this every week. Jeff and I, we have some fun. We're here on April 1st, which is April Fool's Day, but we ain't fooling you. We're really live on the air. This is how we really look. This is not an April Fool's joke.
Yeah. Tell me about it. I feel like it's an April Fool's joke, though,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, I agree. So, hey, so let's see. It's 8 something here. Well, we got plenty of time. I want to get to New York Raiders played one season in 1972. Yeah, I don't know much about the WHA. Something I got to look into. There must be a documentary I can watch on the WHA.
Well,
check that out.
Yeah, Patrick's bringing up about the WHA. I remember when I was a kid grabbing hold of the Daily News.
Yeah,
because that was the first place that I saw the WHA, and I remember the merger.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I remember. It was the Edmonton Oilers, Quebec Nordiques, Winnipeg Jets, and Hartford Whalers.
Wow, good memory.
And Gordie Howe and his son Mark Howe.
Well, they both sons. He had two. Mark.
Well, I just remember those two names. I don't remember about the third name. Wow, and I remember them being absorbed by the NHL. Those four teams.
Yes.
And of course the Nordiques, and one that ended up becoming the Avalanche, Colorado Avalanche.
Yes.
Hartford Whalers ended up becoming the Carolina Hurricanes.
Okay. Yep.
Edmonton stayed Edmonton, and Winnipeg Jets went to become the Phoenix Coyotes, who then I think splintered back off and became the Winnipeg Jets.
Well, I think they expanded and they brought back the Winnipeg Jets again.
Yeah, and then there's still the Arizona Coyotes or Phoenix Coyotes.
Yeah, Phoenix Coyotes, I believe, are still out there. Yeah. So, wow, that's pretty good.
Now, here's a question I ask you once in a while, an NHL question. I see Patrick still with us. So, Patrick, this is off to you too. What is, and yes, the Houston Aeros. But they also, when they came into the league, they were playing on the Hartford Whalers. What is the only professional sports franchise, hockey specific, that was named after a disaster?
Well, it would have to be Carolina Hurricanes, no?
Hurricane is a storm. Doesn't necessarily mean it happened.
Okay. Colorado Avalanche?
No. No. This team was named specifically after
you got me.
The Atlanta Flames.
Okay. Atlanta Flames.
Named after the burning down of Atlanta in sometime in history.
Civil War. Yeah. When was it Jackson? Yeah. So that's pretty cool. I didn't think of that one. Okay. Hey, Patrick tried out for the at WHA back in '73. That's interesting. Wow. And he's right. Gordy, Mark, and Marty Howe all played for the. Absolutely right. He had two sons. I think it was Mark who had the better career. I'm almost positive Mark had the better career.
Yeah, Marty didn't stand out, so it had to be Mark.
I think it was Mark who had the better career of the two. Obviously, Gordie Howe's Mr. Hockey, and up to Gretzky was probably thought of as the greatest hockey player of all time until Gretzky.
Gordie Howe, if I remember right, ended up coming back and signed a contract and was going to play again. And I think he signed with the Detroit Red Wings.
Yep.
And I think he was like in his 60s.
I want to say he played a game. I want to say
he did. He did.
I think he played
one shift or something like that.
Something like that, just to get on the ice. Which I think just to say he played in the, I don't know, sixth decade or fifth decade or whatever it was. So
yep.
Yes, that's right. The Atlanta Flames went into Calgary, became the Calgary Flames later on.
Yes.
Right. Yes. There was a lot of hockey. I remember one of the first teams I remember in hockey. It had to be the 75 season. I think it was the California Golden Seals.
Yes.
Was a hockey team that didn't last. I don't know where they went after that. I'd have to go do a little research on that one.
I think there was a team that I'm not 100% positive, but I think there was a San Diego team also. And before the Avalanche, there was another team in Colorado Rockies.
Yes.
Who came out? Do you know who the Colorado Rockies became?
The New Jersey Devils.
That's right.
Yes, because that was in 83 or 84. Gretzky called them a Mickey Mouse organization. I believe it was the Devils who did, but I think it was the former.
You know who played on that team? Who made the move with that team?
Not sure.
Barry Beck.
Yes. Barry Beck was on that team. Well, actually, Nicky Fatiu was on that Colorado Rocky team, or one of those early teams. I don't think he came over with the merger, but Barry Beck was on that team. Yeah, that was back before. That was before the Rangers or after the Rangers, I would think. Yeah, that was probably after the Rangers, right? Because he left the Rangers and went to go play out there.
That I don't remember. I don't remember him playing on the Devils.
No, I remember with the Rangers, and then I think was Potvin was the one who separated his shoulder, if I'm not mistaken. I think in 80 or 79 after and then he went over to Colorado, and then that's a little bit of history on the NHL for you. But again, we're going to get to some baseball now. I want to get right to.
So he was drafted by the in 1977 by the Colorado Rockies, and then he went to the Rangers and then the Kings.
Okay. When did he go to the Rangers? Do you know? Was it 82, 83?
It says that in 1980, in 1979, because in 1980 was his second year with the Rangers.
Okay, yeah. So he went there. So that's why. Okay. Yeah, and then I think after he left the Rockies, he went to the Kings. He never became a Devil, but and yes, Cleveland Barons went broke, lost their franchise. Finally owned them when they were the Seals. Nice. There you go. Thank you very much, Leonard Anthony, popping in to say hello. Leonard's here. Leonard, give me your thoughts on baseball real quick. Tell me how did the Yankees 95 wins are better? The Mets, give me a little quick on that on the screen here. Again, Jeff and Tom, we're going to talk baseball. Hey, Jeff, I want to talk to you about this Francisco Lindor contract real quick. And I don't know if you read much on it. I know it's been big on the websites out there. But so Francisco Lindor is thought of probably as the third best player in baseball behind Trout and Mookie Betts. And the Mets traded for him. I thought it was a nice job by the Mets to get him. That you knew they were going to have to try to trade for him. So the Mets came out in untypical Met fashion and they offered him what I thought was a really good offer. It was the third highest contract, I think, in baseball, putting him behind the other two guys who he's not better than. But so they offered him 10 years, $325 million. Right? So you knew that was probably going to be there, probably they're close to that top offer. They didn't try to get him at 10 years and, 290. They went right for the top and said, here's what we want to get you. We want you, just below Betts because you're just below Betts in the league. So anyway, he comes back and says, no. The money per year is fine, but I want 12 years. So basically what he was looking for was the 12-year, $385 million contract that Mookie Betts got. $385 million contract. So it pissed me off, and I'll tell you why. Because the Mets came right out the box, gave you a really, really, really good offer. And they could have negotiated. They could have did a lot of things. Could have offered you less. And he turned it down, and I said to myself, and I understand how it works, but at some point, when is it enough? Like, when is it enough, to say, oh, they offered me 325. Well, I want 345. I want 346. Like, when is it enough, Jeff, to play a game and get treated fairly? Like, when is it enough for these players? Like, is it ever enough?
Evidently, Tom, it's not. And you got to think of something. You make what you make, I make what I make. These guys make 1,000 times more than we're making a year.
Yeah.
If not more. Who knows what it is. But you got to think of this, all right? When you're talking, well, you're offering me $350, but I want $355. It is $5 million. It's an astronomical amount of money. But here's the thing. Why would you, like Leonard says, no player should be given more than a 3-year deal?
Yeah.
I was just going to bring that up. If you were the player itself, why do you want to be pigeonholed into a 10-year deal with a no trade clause, no this, no that? When if you're making $35 million a year now, in 2 years, somebody's going to come along and make 40, 45 million, if not more. So now you're stuck at 35 million for the next 10 years or whatever it is. Just to throw a number out there. I wouldn't want that.
Yeah, but I'll tell you why. Look at it this way. Now Giancarlo Stanton is a Yankee. He signed I don't know if it's 4 years ago. He signed a big, huge contract, 10 years, $300 million with the Marlins. If he hadn't got that deal and he went for a 3-year deal, when he went for this deal now based on his last couple of years, not being healthy, he would have got significantly less. So I understand why the player wants that 10-year deal. The problem I have is why are the owners and the fans are crazy. I listen to Met fans all week. You got to give them the 12 years. You got to give them the 10 years. And I'm saying to myself, if I'm an owner, tell me the 10-year contract that after year 5 still makes sense. Now, maybe Trout will be that. I don't know. Maybe Mookie Betts will be that. But, they signed Cano to a 10-year deal. The last 5 years have been miserable, maybe more.
Everything you're saying is 100% true. But, I mean, still, even at this, nothing says that Giancarlo Stanton would have had the injuries he had if he didn't sign that.
But they got that. But I like football where you sign a 10-year deal and it's only good for 2. Baseball, you're going to get $32 million a year, regardless of how well or how badly you play. And the likelihood is,
I understand that
5 years are going to be bad for these guys anyway.
But you still have to think and understand that maybe after year 3, okay, $32 million is now a bargain with some of these guys. So myself, I would rather play on a 3 to 5 year deal. And even that,
you're betting on
it gives you the chance to capitalize again, because now how old is this kid, Lindor?
27.
27. So, okay, so a 12-year deal, he would be 39.
Right.
A 10-year deal, he'd be 37. He's not going to sign again for a big deal. I would rather play, and I understand that he's getting guaranteed money. I would rather play maybe on a 5-year deal. You'd be 32 years old. Bang, you got another 5-year deal in you, at least if you're playing at a high level.
But, Jeff, all these guys who sign these big deals, the second half of the contract are flops. So I
understand that. It happens, Tom. Right. But you know what? Some of these guys, not each and every single one of them was a flop.
No,
some of them actually played.
No. I get it. But I even Jeter, who I'm a huge fan of Jeter, the second half of Jeter's contract, he did not live up to the beginning of. Now he's Derek Jeter. He still was a big part of the team, but he did not live up to his end of it. Giancarlo Stanton's not going to live up to it. Robin Cano has not lived up to it. Now, maybe Tatis will. He's 22
But
years old.
you're also talking about guys that are older too, Tom.
No, I got it, but that's who's getting these deals because you don't get the deal. Fernando
You just said this guy's 27.
Again, but by the time he's done, all these guys get him at 27, Jeff, because that's their first really big contract time. But the likelihood is for them, it's smart because the likelihood is when they go for that deal in the 5 years, they probably have not lived up to that billing. So instead of getting 32 years for 10, they'll get 32 years for 5. And then the second half will be probably 20 million or 18 million. So the player is making out. Here's my thing. And most of these contracts, Jeff, come with an out clause for the player. Like Stanton's contract after 3 or 4 years, he had an out. He could have took out. He didn't because he knew he can't get the same money they did. Why aren't the owners afforded the same thing? Why can't the owner get, hey, after 5 years, if you're not living up to it, I can get myself out and give you a $10 million buyout and let you go.
Patrick, thank you. Second, the owners are the ones that are allowing this to happen.
Absolutely.
The owners, when it comes time for a CBA, they need to put this in there. Second of all, why in God's name are the owners or even offering a 10-year deal?
I agree with you. 100%.
Okay? If I was a baseball player, I would not want a 10-year deal for like everything that I said before. And if I was a baseball owner, I would not want to sign anybody to a 10-year deal. Matter of fact, a 3 to 5 year deal is perfect because then there's here way you want to wash them out of your hair, you want to trade them.
Oh, I agree.
Do a salary dump. It all works in everybody's favor.
I agree.
Okay?
Yeah.
And not for nothing, with athletes being better trained and having a longer shelf life in their respective sports, getting a big long-term deal at 32, 33, sometimes it works out. Doesn't always work out. This is very true, but it's not always a bad thing either.
Yeah.
So I just think that it's something that should be considered. It would cut down on the payroll too.
Well, again, the problem is there's no way that the Players Association is going to let them put a cap on how many years a contract will be. The owners have to step up, and Jeff, there's always going to be one owner who's going to go, I want that guy. I'm going to give him the 10 years, and I'll worry about it later. And so it's a moot point on our part. But if I'm an owner, I don't want a guy at 27 on a 10-year deal because none of them work out. So that's why I don't like it.
No, well, listen, you're 100% right. But once again, you're the one that's giving them the deal. You don't want to sign a 5-year deal. Well, see you later.
Yeah.
Go try to get that 10-year deal. There's only a few mega deals throughout the leagues. Not every deal is an absolute mega deal that it's, unbelievable.
Agree. Listen, I agree. And Leonard, I agree with you that Jeter earned the money. But let's be honest, the last few years, he was not a great shortstop. He wasn't the player he was. And he forced the Yankees, because he was Derek Jeter, he forced the Yankees to make him finish his career as a shortstop. His range was terrible. I mean, he was still a good hitter, don't get me wrong, and he's Derek Jeter, so I understood it. But, did Jeter live up to his contract? No, I don't believe Jeter lived up to the end of that big contract. And of course, they had to pay it. They had no choice. But, again, I don't like it, but I understand why the players want it. Here's my other question. Here's the other thing I want to bring up. So I listened to all the Met fans, and one was Boomer Esiason. I listened to a fan on the way in and way home from work, and Boomer was talking about how Leona's a billionaire. The players should get as much money as they can. Now, I agree with that's the system we have in life. Capitalism is there. But, the players getting $320 million, I understand. Should the owner not be able to say, I want to get value? The owner takes all the risk. If the player's bad, you got to pay the contract. If the team's bad, he's got to pay for everything. If the team loses money, it's his money. He's losing. The player's guaranteed his money. At what point should there not be a guarantee in there somewhere for the owner in a contract to say, if you're not living up to it, we got to figure something out?
No, not at all.
Okay.
The owner is the one, say you're the player.
Yep.
Okay. And I say, Tommy, I want to give you a 3-year deal. Nope. Okay. 5-year deal, $10 million a year. Nope. All right. 7-year deal. Nope. 10-year or nothing. Okay, well then here's a 10-year deal. Okay, or I could just turn around and say, you know, that a 3-year deal. All right, thanks, and move on. When a couple players are told, you know, here's a 3-year deal. No, I don't want that. I want 10. No, and thank you anyway. And they move to the next guy. Sooner or later, they're going to be like, okay, I'll take it. You know, so the owners have to retrain the players in order for that to ever happen.
Well, I think the owners have to retrain themselves. And again, I understand you can't collude, but you know, again,
it's not collusion, though, Tom.
Well, the judges call it collusion if they
could call it whatever they want. But if all of a sudden I don't want to offer you a 10-year deal, no matter who the fuck you are, how is that collusion? When you're saying it's yourself, history's shown. Why do I want to pay a guy 10 years? Because after year 5, after year 6, you're basically a paperweight.
Yeah.
So you went from hitting 35 home runs and 110 RBIs a year down to 17 home runs and 69 RBIs a year.
Yeah.
Still a productive player on some levels, but you're a shell of what you once were. And every year gets worse after that.
No, I agree with you. And listen, I think for Francisco Lindor makes the Mets a much better team. If he keeps up, he just plays the way he's played with Cleveland, the Mets are a much better team, gives them a better opportunity to win the division. Is he putting them over the top to win a World Series this year, next year? I don't know. I don't know if the Mets are good enough yet. I'm not sold on it. And I agree with you, Leonard. You'll never see another Jeter type player. Jeter was. I'm going to answer this and cut my thought off. If I was starting a baseball team, Derek Jeter would be my first pick. Do I think Derek Jeter was the most talented ball player I ever saw? No. I still think Alex Rodriguez, Ken Griffey Jr., Barry Bonds, you know, those guys in their early part of their career were much better ball players than Derek Jeter. But if I was starting a team, Derek Jeter would be the guy I want on my team because of the intangibles, all the things he did during a game that other people never even thought to do. And the guy was a winner. So I'll take Derek Jeter anytime. But, you know, we'll take it. But, you know, the Lindor thing, I think at some point, you know, it's good for the Mets. It's good for baseball. It's good for the Met fans. I don't think it's good for baseball. I think when he wound up settling, Jeff, if you didn't see it, for an extra, I think $16 million. He got 3 years. 10 years. I think $341. So he wound up with basically $1.5 million extra each year. They found a way but he only got 10 years. So they're stuck with him for 10 years, and we'll see how it plays out. But you know, that doesn't, you know, again, this does not set the Mets up. I still think the Braves are the better team in that division. I want to take a minute to run down the Yankees. My thoughts on the Yankees for this year, Jeff, if you don't mind, if you want to jump in, by all means. But we're talking baseball on Hard Rocket Sports before we get to some football. But you know, here's the Yankees. I love the pitching.
Yankees. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I love the Yankees in theory because I think the pitching staff's better. I like Talion. I like Kluber if they stay healthy and they pitch to their base back in the baseball card. I think Cole's Cole. Herman could be a big force for this team. So let's hope for that. I'm a big fan of Jordan Montgomery, so I like the pitching staff, and I think you got some kids in the minors who can help. And if they're close, I think Cashman will go out and get another body somewhere along the line to put that. I think the bigger question for me in the Yankees is bullpen. You know, again, I don't know if this bullpen is as good as years past, and even the one that's been good in years past had some issues in the playoffs. As far as the field goes, Hicks got to stay healthy. I didn't like that contract they gave him for guys always hurt. Stanton, Judge obviously got to stay healthy, and you know, again, they'll win during the regular season. I don't see this team, you know, even when they're not healthy. A couple years ago, they couldn't keep people on the field. They won 90-something games. This team will win 90-plus games. Can it win in the playoffs? The division, listen, the Red Sox did not get better. The Blue Jays, I think, got better. Springer, Semien, Matz. I don't know if Matz makes them any better. I like the kids on that team with Bichette, Biggio. I think they'll run around in there. Can Tampa keep up getting rid of their best pitchers and stay in the hunt? Maybe. Orioles still building. Listen, let's look for the White Sox. Maybe the Twins. I'm not sure. Cleveland, Kansas City, Detroit. No, forget it. Angels. Listen, everybody likes Shohei Ohtani. I understand the theory. The guy, you know, bats, play pitches. You know, do one of them, do both of them, do it well. I still think that Miguel. I still think the Miggy was the rookie of the year that year. I think he's one of those guys who who people want to do well. It's because he's going to play both positions, but ultimately you're hurting yourself because the guy's going to get hurt during the season, and then you lose an arm in the bullpen and a bat in the lineup, or vice versa, depending on which one gets hurt. So Astros, let's hope they continue to lose. Athletics, I'm not crazy about. Mariners, a long way to go. And forget about the Rangers. So the American League, again, comes out to me, it's the Yankees, maybe Chicago, Minnesota. I'm not crazy about I like to see Mike Trout get to the playoffs, but it can't be over the Yankees. So I think the Yankees have the ability here to run through the American League. I don't think there's a major league team that could stand in their way. Got to stay healthy. You need Sanchez to be reasonable with the bat, but play good defense. And I think this team is 90 plus, but get to the playoffs and don't run into a fundamentally sounder team. That's been the problem. The Rays are a fundamentally sounder team and a better pitching staff. And to get to the playoffs, that's what wins. So you need Cole, Kluber, Talion, Herman, maybe to get Severino back and he pitches well. Maybe Garcia comes up and pitches well. We'll see. Pitching's going to do it for the Yankees one way or the other. They will not club teams to death in the playoffs. They've shown the last few years that they cannot club teams to death. But they will be fun in the Bronx this year. That's all I can tell you.
Every year they seem to have promise, and then it just doesn't pan out for them. It's like they run out of steam.
Yeah, Jeff, it gets down to a point. See, during the season, you're facing a lot of you hit teams, you're facing their 3, 4, and 5 pitchers, or somebody's out of the lineup. But when you get to the playoffs, you're getting top 3 pitchers. You're getting the better bullpens. You're getting teams who can hit. The problem with the Yankees, they bludgeon people all year. They hit tons of homers. But when you get to the playoffs, you're not hitting a ton of home runs in the playoffs. And you have to not only hit home runs, you got to get timely hits. And that's been the problem for the Yankees. They get out there and they can't drive in a run from second base. They lost today. They had runner on third base, nobody out, and they couldn't score. Runner on third, nobody out, could not score.
Well, you know what, Tom? It wasn't Game 7 of the playoffs. It's Game 1 of the season, so they got plenty of time to correct that and do what they got to do. But it's overall, you probably got a better team now than you had back in the 80s and 90s when Steinbrenner was trying to buy World Series before he decided to home grow his teams.
Well, I agreed, except he didn't decide it. It was done by Stick Michael when George got suspended. George wanted to trade away Andy Pettit. He wanted to trade away Bernie Williams, and Stick Michael talked him out of it. And then George went away, and they built everything. They rebuilt the farm system. And, beside the core 4 in Bernie, you had Ramiro Mendoza, Layrich. You had a lot of guys come up through that system. Andy Fox, Bellinger, guys who came up and contributed out of the minors. That was, and the Yankees would add in the Yankees would add in that vet. They would add in a Cecil Fielder, a Tim Raines, a Wade Boggs, and make the engine grow. They get Darryl Strawberry has big games. Even Canseco came over and made a little bit of a difference. So that was the difference between that team and other ones. I'm going to bring that up in a second, Leonard. I'm definitely going to bring that up to Jeff. So we'll talk about that. But I want to go over to the National League for a second. Yes, Matt. You know what? Here's the thing. Matt, you can tell me you want to offer Thor a lot of money. If you were doing a beauty pageant or a fitness contest, I'd give the guy the world. He has not ever lived up to the billing. He has never stayed healthy. Syndergaard has never stayed healthy. He's never pitched to his capable or his what they say his abilities are. I'm sorry. He plays looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane. I'm sorry. I hope you give him 10 years, $400 million. Give Conforto another guy. I like Conforto, a good bat. I'm not giving him $200 million. I'm not giving Syndergaard big money. I'm sorry. They have not lived up to the contract. They just haven't. I don't know. Syndergaard looks the part, throws 100 miles an hour. And when does he win? I mean, what's the most he wins he's had in the season? 10, 11? I'd have to look it up. But he's never lived up and he's never stayed healthy. So why am I going to believe now all of a sudden he's going to pitch that way? I'm not buying it. Maybe he will, but I'm not buying it on Syndergaard. DeGrom, I think you pay DeGrom whatever he wants. The guy's probably the best pitcher in baseball. Scherzer, DeGrom, you can go back. Cole, I put them all in the top 3. But if I was pitching one game, I would probably take DeGrom at this point in his career. But it's interesting. Jeff, Leonard brings up something before I go to the National League about the BLM and a lot of people. I think even Biden, that moron, came out and they're talking about moving the the All-Star game, which I don't pay attention to anymore. But they're talking about moving the All-Star game and forcing it out of Georgia because of the new law Georgia put in there for voting. I don't know if you know much about it, but they're requiring they're trying to fix the problems they had this year, which is ballot harvesting, making people just show up with, somebody can drive around your neighborhood and collect all the ballots and bring money in for you. They're trying to fine tune the voting system. And one of them was having ID to vote, limiting voting by mail. And BLM, and all the leftist groups are saying it's racist. They are trying to keep the black vote down. And I say, well, how's that possible, Jeff? Just because I ask you to show up at the ballot box with an ID? How is that racist? So now they're trying to force Major League Baseball to pull the game from Atlanta and put it someplace else. First off, baseball stay out of politics, stay out of all of that. If you didn't learn your lesson last year, you should learn it now. Jeff, what's your thoughts? Should baseball cave in? What will Major League Baseball do?
Tom, it's the All-Star game. It's not like the Braves won and they don't want them to play there. It's an All-Star game. It's more of an exhibition than anything else at this point. Of course, sure. It doesn't mean anything. Just play the game and move on from there. That's all. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if all of a sudden you're going to start to protest and what happens in different towns, cities, and states, then that's it. It's over. It's lost.
Well, don't you think that sports in general, I know the NBA learned their lesson. I think football has learned their lesson that most of America doesn't want politics or social justice in their sports. I think baseball last year, baseball caught a lot of flack for opening day for what they did and the things they did, some of the things they did. I think baseball has to come out and say, one is different from the other or ignore it. But I don't think baseball can go out there and now pull the All-Star game from Atlanta. I think that's a bad message. And I got to tell you, I would have a huge problem with that.
I don't. Listen, they should just cancel the All-Star game, period. That's all.
Well, listen, I agree. Listen, I won't disagree with you. See, the baseball All-Star game growing up was amazing because, there was no interleague play. You didn't get to, there was no national TV contract. You had the one game of the week, which primarily was a lot of the same teams, the Yankees, the Dodgers. When I grew up, the Reds. It was fun to watch, Gary Carter play on the same team with Dave Parker or, Greg Nettles on the same team with George Brett. But that allure has gone away with free agency and interleague play, Jeff. So to me, I think most All-Star games are a waste of time.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I can't tell you the last time I watched an All-Star game. It's got to be 20 years for baseball. Football, I'm going to tell you, it's probably 30 years. Basketball, can't remember the last time I watched it. In the NHL, I'll watch a little bit. It's a little more fun, but even then, it's just scoring goals. So I'm not a big fan. And yes, Patrick, the Democrats are killing this country, but that's for another show and another list. But guys, just real quick, the Atlanta Braves are my pick in the NL East. The Mets can definitely get there. The Nationals, I'm not sure, but Scherzer, and that pitching staff, Soto, they'll be in there. I love the Marlins last year. I thought the Marlins made a great move. Can they build on that? I don't know. Phillies, bullpen sucked. I don't know if they got any better. I think they're fighting for last place. Cardinals, listen, you get Nolan Arenado, you're a better team. So let's say that. I don't know about the Brewers. Cubs, I don't know if they know whether they want to sell off or be relevant. Forget about the Reds, Bauer. The Dodgers get Trevor Bauer. I think the guy's an ass, but he makes them better. They're going to be the pick to win it all again this year. Padres are a better team. I don't know if they've done enough to get there. Giants, Diamondbacks, Rockies, enough said. I think the World Series is Yankees, Dodgers, if you're asking me at this moment. I don't know. I don't know who else really makes the challenge, but every year there's a team. Tampa Bay did it last year. The Astros a couple years ago. We'll see how it plays out. Mets will make the playoffs. I can almost guarantee it. But then, Jeff, they still haven't decided if they're going to go to last year's 16 teams, 8 from each league, or back to the original 3 division winners, 2 wild cards, and only 10 teams. So I hope they go back to the original because I think it makes the regular season more entertaining because there's a little more pressure. But they may cave in and try to go 16 teams.
No, of course they're gonna fucking put more teams in there. That's almost practically a given. They're gonna right now at this point in time. I think baseball really needs to listen to the fans of the game. As much as I know that you don't like the idea of it, but they're going to need something to capture the fans' attention. So I think that they definitely need to take the input of the fan into consideration and, try to incorporate what the fan is looking for into the game a little bit and make the game a little bit more interesting. I think that baseball is the league at a sport that is suffering the most out of the big 3 between basketball, football, and baseball.
Yeah,
it's definitely got to be third place. I bet you it's barely ahead of hockey at this point in time.
No, I still think I still think baseball is a popular sport. I disagree a little bit on that, but you're right. It's definitely
it's a long drawn out game. Okay, you can watch a football game, and one of the quarters in a 4-quarter football game always seems to fly by. Whatever one it is, usually the second quarter, be like, oh shit, it's halftime already.
Yeah.
But in baseball, it's just, come on. A 9-inning game could run almost 3 hours sometimes.
Yeah, no, listen.
What's the point of watching half a 3-hour game and then going out?
Listen, I still love baseball. I got you. They're trying to tweak things, and I think it's wrong because I think you're hurting the game for the purist of the game. But I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to bring more people in.
You say that, but yet you want to add a DH to both leagues.
Because I think it's bad for baseball. I think it's years ago you had some good hitting pitchers. You had a lot of good hitting pitchers. Now it's an automatic out.
It's different now because these pitches, you could start off in the National League and then I'm going to go over to the American League second half of my career, or as soon as I can, I want to get out of the National League. I like the idea of the pitchers hitting. I think it gives it the old time baseball feel.
But they're not hitting though, Jeff. They go up there, and most of them don't even swing the bat.
What I mean by hitting, they're going up there. Sometimes, Tom, they have no choice. Sometimes it gives the manager a different way to strategize the game. Okay, this guy's got to make it through 5 innings to pitch, but he's going to get up twice. And we're losing by 3 runs, and now here comes the second time up. What do I do? Right. And it makes these guys think sometimes.
No, I get it from that sense. I do, but then you get to that point in the game where a guy's pitching a good game in the 6th or 7th inning, and you have 2nd and 3rd and 1 out, and you got to go. I got to pull him out of the game, And now you take him out. You score 1 run, but then your bullpen comes in and gives up 4 runs. So
that could happen no matter what.
Understood. I just think it's gotten to the point where guys don't even take the bat off their shoulder, and if they do, it's an automatic out. It's just, to me, it's boring. I think it hurts the game, and I find it to be boring. But if they left it in, I would have no problem with it. I really wouldn't. I prefer if they go to the DH, but I really don't have a problem with it. Yeah.
I just think that they should keep at least one league the way it was.
Okay.
That's me. That's just me.
But I also think that it should both be the same rules, because it's even worse for the American League pitchers when they got to go to a National League park. I watched Masahiro Tanaka a couple of years ago. He was on third base, tried to tag up and pulled both hamstrings, was out and ruined the rest of his season. I think they're almost the rest of his season. So to me, that's part of the problem, which it's just part of baseball. I get it. But I just find it to be pitches coming up, it's automatic out. And it's not as bad as it used to be, where the shortstop was terrible and then you had your pitcher. So your 8-hitter is usually a bad hitter, and then you got your 9-hitters who's a horrendous hitter. It just, to me, makes 2 bad spots in the lineup. I'd rather not, but if they leave it, I'm okay with it. It's one of those rules where, I'd rather baseball stay the way it is than change. But bigger bags and pitch clocks, guys, let's leave baseball alone and just market it better. Here's the problem with baseball also. who is the face of baseball? Mike Trout is the best player this game has seen in years. He's consistently the best player, and you have no idea who Mike Trout is. Most people don't even know what he looks like. Jeter was the face of baseball. Everybody knew Derek Jeter. That's the problem with baseball, is that there's no more face of baseball right now. That's another problem, Jeff. Like, you're the face of the show.
It's a long, boring game, man.
Oh,
you realize, that, okay, here's a typical baseball game. All right, it's a beautiful day. The pitcher gets up, he throws the ball. It's on the outside. That's a strike one. Then they could talk a few minutes, talk about the kids, talk about this, whatever they got to talk about. Okay, a minute and a half later, here comes the second pitch. He winds up. Oh, he fouls it off. Okay, this guy, and then it just is too much bullshit in between. How many right now? You could go a minute or two between pitches.
No,
it's too long. By the time the guy gets out of the fucking box and he gets back in.
I don't know if it's a minute or two, but I get your point. And that's why a lot of people want the pitch clock where, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, they have to throw the ball.
Even that is too long.
Yeah, I'm a little against it. I think you go out there and you play the game. And I think sometimes.
Does the pitcher really need 30 fucking seconds to get the ball thrown back to him, step up to the rubber, and sit there and study? What the fuck is he studying? Throw the ball to the catcher. If you're good, the guy's going to miss, or he's going to foul it off or something, or he's going to, hit the ball into play anywhere but over the fence. You know what I mean?
No, I get it. I
imagine how many pitches a game these guys throw that you're waiting 30 seconds on.
I get it, Matt. Listen, do you really look at that stats, 2 10-win seasons, a 14-win season, a 13-win season, and you're telling me you want to give him a big contract? That's the guy you want to be your number 2, where you're going to give him what? $25 million for 10? 25 for 7? What do you? Is that really the guy that's what you're counting on? I'm not telling you that he's not a good pitcher. I think, potentially he's a great pitcher probably. And 5 years ago, I thought he was going to be the best pitcher in that staff. I like this stuff better than DeGrom. He can't stay healthy, and he doesn't win when it counts. And I'm sorry. Again, looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane. And
you know who else looks like looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane, can't stay healthy?
Who?
Saquon Barkley of the New York Giants.
There we go.
I'm using this as a segue. I'm putting this baseball thing to sleep.
Okay.
I'm falling asleep. We spent way too much time on America's pastime when it should be put to bed. Okay. We're weeks away from the draft. We're talking about baseball.
Okay.
Makes no sense.
Okay.
We got to cut this off.
All right. So we'll transition over to football because I know that's where you want to go. First off, let's talk about the 17 games. The baseball. Don't like that. Football's now added the 17th week to the season. The Super Bowl now will be played its latest date ever, February 13th, 2022. Jeff, is this a good thing for football? Now, there's only 3 preseason games. Is this good for football? Is this bad for football? I think it waters it down even more. My opinion, I don't really like the 17th game. I do like the idea of less preseason games. I would prefer they don't play a 17th game. 16 to me has been perfect. Jeff, give me your thoughts.
16 is perfect. You'll never have a team that plays 500 again.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Second of all, I like the idea of a 4-game preseason, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
You have a little time to get your regulars into action. They see enough time, and then you have enough time to go through players that are on the bubble, fringe players that you may want to get a second look at, especially in the last game before they get cut down. So I think you're taking that away from the game and from the teams, unless they're going to make some kind of developmental league or expand the practice squad or something. You know what I mean? But I just don't like the idea that they're just going to 17 games. Like it, the only thing I can tell you is that, say the Giants are 8-0, okay, and now they're going to go play, say the Bengals, who are 1-7 at this point in time. All right, so you want to rest Saquon Barkley this game, or you want to rest a couple extras? Okay, we could do that because this is a game that we're supposed to win. That we could, we have a good shot of winning. So we could rest a couple regulars, give them a little rest in the middle of the season, or wherever these games would fall in the schedule. That's the only thing I like about it. Other than that, no, I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I'm not a huge fan of it. I know. Listen, Matt, I sent you the link. If you want to come on and give us your take on it, I'm more than willing to put you on and let you talk about it. And again, if you're a football fan, maybe you love the extra week and you want more football. I get it. I just think it's overdone to a certain degree, and I just think.
So now the season, real quick, is it going to be 18 weeks long now?
Yes. I think actually it's 19. I think there's 2 buys, if I'm not mistaken. I got to read back to
really?
But maybe no, it's 18. I think it stays 18 with 1 buy. And it just, I don't know if I don't think they eliminated 2 weeks between the Super Bowl. And again, it pushes out to February 13th. I mean, at some point, you're going to be playing. You're going to overlap with the start of baseball season, with the start of spring training. That's where it's at.
You know what? Never mind that. What happens when they start pushing for an 18th week?
Yeah, you know what? I would have said that never would happen, but who the hell knows, Jeff? You know what? I love football.
16 games just sounds better.
Well,
everything about it sounds better.
Well, think about it. Teams are struggling now at the end sometimes to field a competitive team. Now, I think I have to check and see if they're up. I think they're up in the roster a little bit. I don't know if maybe it's the practice squad's getting up. We have to take a look at all of that. But to me, you're asking these guys to play more and more. And most of your star players don't play in the preseason. Most of them don't play.
No, they don't. But let me ask you this: now, how important is this to have maybe a better backup quarterback? A better second string players, whether it's on the offensive line, defensive line, better receivers. Because now maybe you're going to say, "Oh, I'm going to rest my quarterback in one period, one quarter." You just think of all the things that could come along with it.
And
it's too much.
Should the players get paid more money because they're playing an extra game now? Do the players deserve to be paid more money?
Well, they probably are their salaries based on games, or are their salaries based
on the season
from September to December? You know what I mean? Or December to January. You know what I mean?
Much, yeah. Unless they're suspended for some reason.
Although you do bring up a point, because they're playing 16 games, but now they're stepping on the field for a 17th one, which could produce injuries to certain players without a doubt.
Listen, I don't want. I love football. I love the fact that the season is, and the season goes quick. Once you get started, the season flies by every year. 17 games sounds great. I'm not a fan of it. I like to see it stay the way it is. But you know what? Let's bring in somebody who actually likes it. He's a little off sometimes, so I'm gonna let him get on. He's our NFL expert, and he'll be back on in a couple weeks for some NFL draft stuff. And let's get Matt Salici on.
Seconds.
What's up, Matt?
Hey, guys.
What's up, pal?
How are you?
Good. Ahead, how are you guys?
We're good. Go ahead. Tell us why you think this is good.
So it's definitely it's an opinionated discussion, I think. And I think it's a loaded question, because I always thought, and you know what? You mentioned something earlier, Jeff, about baseball, when you said pitchers, they don't need that long to deliver a pitch to the plate. These guys watch film of hitters leading up to the game. They look for weaknesses. Batters look for weaknesses on pitchers, right? It's the same concept with football. These guys that get drafted, they've been watching tape on them forever. And when they're in high school, they start watching these guys when they get recruited into college and then to the pros. They have years of tape on these guys, okay? So the tape never lies. That's how I feel. If you do it in college, it doesn't always necessarily mean it translates to the NFL, because it's a different speed and a whole different ball game. It's scheme. It's a whole bunch of different things. But preseason, to me, is a double-edged sword. I think it's more political, and what I mean by that is there's no money in preseason anymore, and the owners see it. The TV people see it. Nobody wants to watch preseason. They don't. It's only like the nutbags, the nut crazy football people like me who watch like 8 preseason games in a day. But here's the thing: when, as a fan, if Danny the Giants quarterback gets hurt in the 3rd game of preseason, what the hell? Nobody wants to see a starter getting hurt in a meaningless game. So if you don't know what you have already, the hell with preseason. I think preseason is for evaluation, yes, but only for the rookies and first and second year, maybe second year guys. You've seen them before. They're on tape. You know what they can give you. So now you want to see these young guys in a game experience. That's all preseason is for. You mean to tell me you need a 5, 6, 7, 8 year veteran? You need to see them in preseason? No way. A 17th game brings more of a competitive edge to the game, to the viewer. People care, watch more. Nobody gives a crap about preseason. It's like watching the Pro Bowl guys playing two-hand touch. I don't want to see somebody. I remember when I was a kid growing up and Randy White and Tony Dorsett were playing a stupid preseason game, and they both got injured, and they were done. I wasn't that excited to watch the first game of the season without those two guys. So I'm sorry. I love I love the extra game and one less preseason game.
It's not so much that I think they need the preseason games to evaluate veterans. You're 100% right. But I think it gets them into game shape. So why do you want your team with your guy taking a step out onto the field in game one and not being in game shape at all?
Here's the thing. I hear what you're saying about game shape.
I mean,
I really do.
He could slip in the shower and ruin his.
Yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Anything could happen, but you want to minimize that, especially when you're paying millions of dollars to a guy. So I do agree with some of your points about it, but here's where I have to stand, Pat. So you have preseason. You're saying you need them. You need to evaluate them, right? They need to get in game shape. Well, they're doing that all off season in the weight room, in practice. They're simulating game speed in practice. It's not the same, but they're doing their best. Like last year was a mess. That's why everybody in the league got hurt and destroyed because they went from 0 to 150 in a week, and you can't do that. There's no build up to the beginning of the season.
That's exactly what I mean. That's exactly my point.
Exactly. So my point being is, one less game, okay. So you have the rookies and the draft picks play the first game, and in the second game play the first half. You have a tune-up with your starters. In the third game, the entire half, 2-minute warning simulation in all 3 preseason games. And that's it. If you need to see your starters play anything, they've been playing football since they were 9 years old. If you can't, like you said with the pitchers, you throw the ball up to the plate. The guy's going to strike out, hit it, pop it up, whatever. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. You don't forget how to pitch as a pitcher to a batter or a batter to swinging the ball. You know what the hell you're doing. So just go do it. It's the same with football. You forget how to catch a ball. You forget how to run. You hit, block. No. It's
the only difference in what you're saying and I'm saying is that extra game, instead of it being preseason and it doesn't count, now you're adding it to the schedule and it does count. So now they're still playing the same amount of games. Whatever which way that you're cutting it, they're still playing the same amount of games. They didn't drop a game or whatever. They added a game that counts, which means now they got to go out there and play harder in a game that, I mean, listen, like we just said, anything could happen. Anything could happen at any time. So now you give them another reason to play out.
They've done things to help the players, though, too. They expanded roster so you can give your starters a little bit more rest later in the season. And correct me if I'm wrong, do they have 2 buys now in the season or not?
No, it's only 1 bye. I wasn't sure either. And Patrick came up and said it's only 1 bye. So as far as I know, it's only 1 bye week.
So the expanded rosters is one thing that they kept, and I think that's great because when you go from 55 players up to I think it's 62, and the practice squad is 11 players now or 12 players as opposed to what it was like 6 players. Yeah. So you can bring these guys up and down now.
Yes,
without penalty.
Which is good.
If there's a starter or 2 that really needs a rest, bang, then you put a guy in that you want to look at for a couple weeks. So I think it's a good thing, and I just think it's a double-edged sword. There's good points on both sides. I just think that
listen, we're all going to watch it. And for us, for me and Jeff, and for yourself as well, for this show. It only makes it better. Jeff and I, this show is built around football. Regardless of all the other sports and music, we love them all. But when it comes to this show, we will do football year-round. And in football season, it dictates. I mean, that's just the way it goes. So it's good for the show. Don't get me wrong. I'm just let's see how it plays out. Teams are going to have more. Some teams are going to have more home games than road games now. Other teams are going to be more road games than home games. We'll see how it plays out. I'm not a fan of it, but I'm going to watch it. But while I got you, I'm going to ask you a couple quick things. What were the Eagles thinking with that trade? I don't get that one. And did Justin Fields help himself with that pro day? I mean, to me, the pro days, combines, like you said, they already know these guys based on film and games from high school through college. To me, the combine and pro days to me are useless. Guys throwing footballs in shorts and T-shirts means nothing to me. But did Justin Fields improve himself, or is he stuck at the 4? Is he 4 as far as quarterbacks go?
I will say this. The one thing that I went back and looked at, how much, I love scouting more than anything.
Yeah, sure.
So I literally watched Justin Fields. Forget about the season. I watched some of his games and some of the bigger games where he, didn't do so well. Okay. Yeah. One of the biggest things I wanted to see with Justin Fields, because this was a big knock on him, and I'm glad I did because it answered 2 of my questions. Everyone kept saying, and even scouts, they kept saying, he locks onto one guy. He locks onto one guy. He locks onto one guy. So I went back and I watched 6 games from the, like the NFL cut-ups of games like a scout would watch.
Right.
And what I saw from a different angle was I saw him go through his progressions. He was getting pressure right through the A gap, right into his face. He stood tall in the pocket. He made all of his reads and made the throw. Most of them were on time and on the money. And, what people don't know when they watch the TV and they watch the game is you have to understand Ohio State's offensive scheme. That scheme is 4 routes within 1 route. So you have to hold the ball sometimes because you don't know what the receiver is actually going to do. You're guesstimating. So from a guy who's just watching the game to watch it for entertainment purposes, oh God, look at this. He stinks. He threw that pick. Or they don't know what they're talking about. So I saw it and I watched it and I said, no, this guy does not lock on his. If you watch the receivers, they stutter step. They don't do what they're supposed to do at the top of a route. They don't stem properly. They turn the wrong way. They give him an impression. And he's looking at coverage. So if the coverage dictates that he goes to a certain zone, a spot, a timing throw, he's going to make that throw because that's what he's supposed to do. Gotcha. But the receiver's not always on the same page with him.
Again, I heard a lot of the same things about Haskins. Now, I was not a fan of Haskins, and I think Fields is definitely a better quarterback than Haskins was.
He is,
more
by
mature.
far.
I got you. I'm not buying that. I watched Trey Lance. I'm a little bit more of a fan. Again, still scared of the small school thing.
He's got all the athletic ability you want, Tommy. He's just raw. He needs to play.
Again, I'm not disagreeing. But am I going to take them in the top 3 pick?
No way.
I agree with you, but I think, again, that's the questions. Wilson has a lot of the same knocks. Not a lot. Wilson has some of the same knocks. I think there's not enough of a volume to see. I think I wonder, is he the next, Sam Darnold, Matt Leinart, where short. I'm
going to tell you
career.
I'm going to tell you who he reminds me of. Without a doubt. And I think his arm is better. And I think he's from the shoulders above, they're both very comparable. But to me, he reminds me of Chad Pennington.
Okay. I can see that.
He's very smart, this kid. And what scares me about him is his slight build. He's only like 205, 208. And when I watch his pro day and I watch him play at BYU, he's just a very frail looking kid. And I mean,
I agree with you.
He's got to go to the right scheme with a good offensive line.
I was just going to say the same thing. I think he can be successful, but he better wind up in a place that can protect him and give him enough targets.
He's going to fill in too a little bit more, man. Come on, he's still young.
I agree, Jeff, and I'm not.
He will, but not that much.
Yeah, but you can be. There are guys who are skinny, but their frame is big. He's not big framed. He's not just a thin guy.
No.
Like Josh Allen was a little bit of a thinner guy, but he had a big frame and he's filled into it. It's a difference. I think he's a good quarterback, but I'm scared of him going to the Jets for just the reason we just talked about, Jeff, and the fact that he one of those places where if you don't get him protected and give him enough weapons early on, you can ruin him quick. And
Tom, I would be afraid to send Joe Montana to the Jets, bro. you gotta remember that. Okay, this is the New York Jets you're talking about. This is capturing lightning in a bottle. Don't forget that.
Yeah, again, I don't like Fields, and again, until an Ohio State quarterback comes in and changes my mind, it's just one of those things where they have great college careers, and then they get to the pros, and it's maybe it's the scheme. Again, you talked about it, Matt. The competition's great up there, but maybe they're built on scheme, and until somebody comes in and changes that, I would stay very far away. And I got to be honest. You're going to see a run on quarterbacks. You're going to probably see all 4 of these guys gone in the top 10. I can't imagine.
It'll be the first time in draft history.
And I think at least the first 3 picks in the draft are going to be quarterbacks. And it's probably going to be, obviously, Lawrence. It'll be Wilson. And it's probably going to be Trey Lance. I think he's going to go 3. I don't see Frisco taking Fields. I just don't see it. But we're going to, do you feel differently?
Well,
they're going to take a quarterback.
After Trevor Lawrence,
yes.
Honestly, if the Jets see right now, the Jets are falling into a trap. They are falling into this love affair with this quarterback from BYU, and they're having tunnel vision. Because I agree with what you said earlier. And Jeff made a solid point as well. Fields fits that offense better now. Why? Because he can run, he can scramble, he can get out of there.
And he's a bigger guy. I mean, from the legs down, he is a beast.
6'3", 223.
Yeah, I mean, he's thick.
Yeah, exactly. And he will grow into his body more.
Yeah.
After Lawrence, I am not enamored with any of these quarterbacks. They all have the serious flaws. And, Mac Jones even, who's very smart and has a very accurate arm, and I think he's got the best touch out of anybody in this draft as far as, giving a very catchable, nice ball in the right area, accuracy, all that timing. But then I guess, most people would if you're throwing to Waddle and Devonta Smith and guys like that.
Yeah.
But I have to say, if I'm the Jets right now, I'm trading that second pick for a boatload of fucking picks.
Yeah. I agree.
And I am building that offensive line, and that linebacking core stinks. They got no solid corner.
Why? What are you going to do? Who's the quarterback? You're going to stick with Donald? The guy has yet to play a full season.
Okay, let me. I'm not defending Donald, but you have to say, what have the Jets done since he was drafted to help him? Nothing. Zero.
He gets hurt every year. He's missed at least 3 games every year.
Offensive line
Troy Aikman got hurt 3 times his first 2 years, and look at him after he got a line in front of him and a running back and a receiver.
And you're gonna sit there and tell me that you're comparing Sam Darnold to Troy Aikman, please.
I'm comparing what's in front of him. And
okay, that's fair enough. But I still don't see Sam Donald rising to that.
No, Jeff, I agree. See, I agree with both of you on this one. See, Jeff, I agree with you. I think Donald's time with the Jets is done. But I also agree with Matt that I think bringing in one of these quarterbacks who I don't believe in and then putting him behind a team right now. Again, I like what they've done offensively. I like Corey Davis. I think Corey Davis is going to be okay. I like Mims.
But he's not a number one.
No, I agree with you. But it's given him a little.
They haven't had a number 1 receiver in fucking 900 years.
Since Al Toon.
Yeah.
But I also agree with Jeff in the sense, well, or Matt, here's the thing. What do the Jets do? You don't draft one of these quarterbacks. You don't want Donald. What are we doing? Bringing in one of the NFL retreads? That's the problem. Now, the Jets, if anybody needed to trade for Deshaun Watson, it was the Jets because they need to bring in an established NFL quarterback. And I wouldn't bring Deshaun Watson in if I was the Jets for all the for what basically going on.
How can you?
I think the Jets' only real play would be to try to go get Garoppolo. I'm not a big fan of Garoppolo, but I think
he's another one that's fucking as fragile.
I don't like Garoppolo at all.
I agree, but where else do you go if you're the Jets? You can't stay with Donald. I'm afraid of the picks. I agree with you, man. I would trade down if I were the Jets, get a couple more picks, and really fix the offensive line. There's a couple of good guys that early on.
You guys are both basing that thought process on one thing, which is totally wrong. Okay.
Yep.
They don't scout well. And what second round pick of the New York Jets has stuck around on that team for 3 or 4 seasons? Name one.
No, listen.
So what are you going to do with extra picks? What are you going to do with extra picks?
I got it, Jeff. I again, we're just we're spitballing here, and I get your point. But
we don't have anything to go on now because they got a whole new coaching staff and scouting staff.
Yeah. Yeah. Now again,
listen. Here's one thing that you can go on. Look what they did with the offensive line last year.
Yeah.
Okay. They didn't really do much with the offensive line, and guess what? It's coming back this year.
And
but again, that was last year's coaching staff.
But
not
again,
this year.
But
it's last year's general manager.
But yeah, I agree with Jeff on this point.
Salah's got to tell him he's got to work with him better.
But he hasn't. But he hasn't said anything.
Yeah, here's my problem with it.
That we know of.
They had the money. They have the money, and they have the picks to go make some moves trade wise.
What other players
should have fixed that play that line?
What other players were they even fucking connected to during the beginning of free agency? Nothing. Nobody.
The Jets should have went out and get Kevin Zeitler. Zeitler's a solid offensive lineman. Went to the Ravens.
If they went and they got one offensive, say they went out and got one offensive lineman, okay, they could have drafted another one this year. That means they would have had 3 new pieces, and maybe they could have even picked up another one later on in the year before the season starts.
Yeah, I listen. They had no chance to get.
They didn't do nothing.
Right, they had no chance to get Tooney from the Patriots because he was going to Kansas City, and nobody's going to fight that. But they could have overpaid a little bit for Zeitler. There's a couple of guys they could have got that would have made them significantly better than what they were. And yes, Jeff, I agree with you. They could have drafted an offensive lineman in this draft, maybe another tackle to bookend Becton. Anything could have been possible. But right now, I think the Jets are in a really bad spot because they, like I said, they zeroed in on a quarterback who is probably the best of the second bunch, but I don't believe in him in a long-term career.
Listen, you got to think this way too, Tom. They didn't make the pick yet.
No, I agree.
So everything is speculation right now. They did not make the pick yet. So let's see what happens. Chances are, I mean, we're not stupid. Chances are they're going after a quarterback with the second pick. We know that because they would have moved by this point in time.
Correct. When the 49ers,
unless they're waiting for a draft day blockbuster.
I don't see it. Who else is going to move up that high at this point to grab a quarterback? I don't know. I have to think about that. But we're going to do the show a couple of weeks from now. We're going to grab Matt on maybe the week before the draft, and we'll kind of nail down some stuff and have some fun with it. And of course, Matt's going to check in on draft night as he's watching the draft. He'll pop in and out and let us know what he thinks. Hopefully that night. I know he'll be locked in, but we'll get him in between picks.
Listen,
I'll be locked in for 3 days.
I got a question for both of you before Matt. I guess you're letting him go now.
Yeah.
Something that a couple people have brought up on the side, but nobody's brought this up. What do you think is going to happen today? And it may be a little far-fetched right now, but the NFL records, season records, now with a 17th game, is there a chance somebody's going to hit 6,000 yards passing? And what records may fall, and how serious is anybody going to take them now? Because these guys are doing it with an extra game.
2,000 yards, I think, is a big
Listen,
one.
if you have a quarterback like the amazing quarterback from the Chiefs or Josh Allen from Buffalo, guys like that, if you had an extra game, if you're that close to 6,000 yards, you deserve it because you're only going to pass for another 300 or 400.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So if you're at that pinnacle at that point in the 16th game, you friggin' deserve it. That's just an incredible year in itself.
I got to be honest with you. How many? I think the bigger question, Jeff, and I think it's a great one that you asked because I'm a big records guy. But I think the bigger question is how many teams actually field a legitimate team on week 17? I mean, by that point in the season, how many teams?
It depends, Tom. It depends. You know, Matt, I understand everything you're bringing up. All great points. But remember, Joe Namath held the season record for how many years? 4,007 yards or 4,002 yards over 14 games. And in 2 games difference, Peyton Manning threw for almost 1,700 yards more than that a few years back. So anything could happen. Anything, you don't know what could happen if they have a couple big games over the course of the season. Far-fetched, yeah. But there's going to be records that were held for 16 games, and that extra game, it's going to add a bigger dimension to the game, bigger than you really give it credit for.
don't think you'll challenge on the touchdowns for most touchdowns in the season. At the end of the career, you play 16 years. You play 15 years. You get 15 more games. I mean,
it's an extra season.
Yeah, it's an extra season on your thing if you're hanging in there as a quarterback. So, again, I'm not a fan of it, but it's going to happen. It's actually obviously happening, so we'll see. But Matty boy, you're the best, man. I love having you on, and like I said, we'll pull it together maybe a week before the draft. We'll sit back. We'll do a nice segment on. But I could have a run for first 4 teams grabbing quarterbacks. And the bad part is, no, after the first guy, I don't think there's a guy worth the top 10 pick, but they're gonna go.
No, I don't either. I honestly, no one's talking about someone though. Real quick, I know we got to go, but no one's talking about someone that's won so many games. I want to see where this guy lands, and it's Ian Book from Notre Dame. I want to see where this guy lands in the draft. He's a winner.
Yeah,
he does nothing but win every week.
And Mac Jones is the same thing. And I think Mac Jones is a better quarterback. Mac Jones wins.
And that's my point. See, I don't think Ian Book has the talent that this guy had, Mac Jones. I'm not saying Ian Book. I'm not enamored with Ian Book, but the guy's a winner.
No,
he wins everything.
And there's something to be said for that. And I tell you what, if Mac Jones winds up on any team and it's the Patriots, I think Mac Jones has a better career. If he winds up on a team like the Patriots where you have a system and they protect the quarterback, I think he'll have I know that there was all that controversy about Belichick shaking his head. Be careful he don't wind up there. He don't fall far enough.
I projected with a long time ago that I think the Patriots are going to trade with Dallas from 15 up to 10 to get him.
I agree.
And because I think Surtain could probably be off the board by then. But honestly, man, go watch film on J.C. Horn. This guy's a hell of a corner.
Yes.
Hell of a corner.
I agree. And
I like him a little bit better than Surtain. Surtain is the cleanest corner in this draft.
Yeah. It's got the lineage.
Man, J.C. Horn's a baller.
Listen, I hope either one of them there for the Giants. I would not have a problem with the Giants taking either one of those two guys at that point or going receiver, which is what I love.
Imagine what the Giants defense would look like, though, if they draft this Micah Parsons kid. This guy's a beast at linebacker.
Listen, there's nothing I want more than an outside linebacker who comes off the edge and plays like this kid does. I agree with you.
Oh, he's a monster.
And I ran it through. I don't see any reason unless somebody trades up that he won't be there. Like I don't see the scenario where he's not there.
No, I think he could be. A lot of people are also liking this Quiddy Payne from Michigan State at defensive end. Another rocked up quick guy off the ball, but I watched Micah Parsons, man. I'll tell you, the only thing about him, and this is totally correctable. He's slow to diagnose plays. He's a little slow to but man, when he sees it, you better watch out.
That is exactly right, Matt. That is very coachable. You can teach a guy to pick those things up with a lot of film work and a lot of stuff on the field running it past him. So, but listen, Matt, I gotta let you go. We're gonna be ending the show in a second. I love you to death. We'll get you on in a couple of weeks. We'll talk a lot more football with you, brother.
Gotcha. Night,
Thanks
guys.
for popping in, brother.
See you later, man.
He makes a lot of great points, Jeff, about your Jets. And, as a Jet fan, okay, you're the general manager of the Jets, Jeff. You're right now, and you have to make that move. Are you going for the quarterback based on the fact that you're just looking for somebody? I mean, at this point, knowing what you know about the quarterbacks and what you're listening to us say, if the Jets pull the trigger and grab one of these guys, are you happy?
It's hard to say, Tom. It's
Really?
hard to say. Yeah, and the reason I tell you that it's hard to say is because let's look at this 3 scenarios real quick. Okay,
sure.
They keep Sam Darnold,
right?
They draft Zach Wilson, or they draft Justin Fields.
Okay.
Okay, you're right. The pro day is nothing more than run this, do that, bang. There's the pitch, the throw.
Oh, right.
Okay, but let's just say that they keep Donald. Let's do for one at a time. Let's say they keep Donald. He flops. He doesn't show nothing. Next year, he's gone.
Right.
Okay.
Gotcha.
You pretty much know that they're getting a high draft pick next year, too. I don't know who's coming out in next year's draft. Okay.
Yeah.
But let's say that they go with Zach Wilson. Okay. Already the Arizona Cardinals have shown that certain teams are willing to give up on a number 1 pick in no time flat. So the Jets could take a guy like Zach Wilson and trade him for something.
Yeah.
Okay. They could do the same thing with Justin Fields. Okay. Fields, to me, looks like he's going to be more of a running quarterback, than a passing quarterback, more like a Michael Vick. And I just, don't know if I want to see that happen, if I want that.
Okay.
The kid Wilson,
Yeah.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say, if he could put on another 10 pounds in 2 or 3 seasons, he's got to learn. And I mean, listen, who's to say? I'm getting up and going to work tomorrow. I'm not working on an NFL team. So these guys have other information on these guys. Maybe they see them as a fit. Maybe Salah thinks that Justin Fields is the guy. Everybody right now has Wilson linked to the Jets.
Sure.
Maybe it's Justin
Could be
Fields.
smokescreen. Could be a smokescreen.
You don't know.
Absolutely.
The one thing we know for sure is it seems as though that Jacksonville is going to take Trevor Lawrence. So Trevor Lawrence is off the board. And I'm not a fan of trading down.
Okay.
Hold on. From North Carolina.
Yeah, he's right, but Matt, he's mid to late first round. He's definitely a kid. I like Sam Howell a lot, but he's not a top 10 guy. He's a guy who you're going to grab later in the round. Maybe a guy can wind up in New England. So yeah, I agree with Matt on that.
Well, I'm not a big fan of them
trading down. Why?
Trading down because I just don't know. It gives them more picks to fuck up.
Okay.
To be completely honest with you, I am not very optimistic of the Jets. I'm hopeful, but I'm not optimistic of the Jets taking the next leap to the next plateau of what they got. I think they're going to get enough high quality players that they're going to be more competitive. They're not going to be another 2-14 team this year. I can tell you that much. But it may be 4-12.
But the division's better now. I mean, the Dolphins are absolutely better. The Bills are better or at least as good as they were last year, and potentially getting the players they got back they missed from COVID and all the stuff they did in the free agency. You got to think the Patriots are better. So the Jets to me are up on an uphill battle right now.
Yes, but here's the thing. Okay, you still have to take your first step out of the box.
Yes.
Okay, no matter what happens, you got to get your first step out of the box. You got to build a little confidence. I'm not looking for the Jets to finish this year 11-5. I know that's not going to happen.
Right.
Okay. If they win 5 games after the way they played last year, I think you could almost consider that a monumental turnaround for them in a season. Okay.
Okay.
They need to know that they have a quarterback. Okay. They seem to fuck that up year after year after year. We know that. Okay.
Yeah.
So you need to, if they find out they draft a kid and it's the quarterback of the future, they're like, this guy's good. This is, the next Josh Allen. Let's face it, right off the bat, you're saying about Tua and the Dolphins. Okay. There was talk that they were going to trade Tua. That maybe the Dolphins weren't sold on Tua. The Patriots, for whatever reason, and I have no idea, why the fuck you bring back Cam Newton?
Couldn't figure that one out either.
You bring back Cam Newton. Now, everything you want to do, you bringing back Cam Newton?
Yeah.
Does that make any kind of sense to you at all?
Well, no, it does. Well, here's the only reason it does make sense, and it doesn't make any sense. I don't like it at all.
It makes no sense at all. The guy couldn't throw the ball last year.
I agree with you. Again, it was the matter of, do you bring him back or a different retread? I would have went with a different retread and paid him a lot less money because you're paying $14 million.
Let me ask you this, okay? You're Tom Brady, okay? You go to Tampa Bay and you win another Super Bowl. You don't sit there with Gronk as the sun setting with the Super Bowl trophy in between you and be like, they replaced me with Cam Newton?
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
And re-signed him.
And re-signed him? Are you fucking kidding me? Ryan Fitzpatrick was available and they took Cam Newton?
You know what, Jeff? That's a great valid point. That's a great valid point. You would have been better off with Ryan Fitzpatrick than Cam Newton. I watched Cam Newton last year. He couldn't throw the ball at all.
Of course. And that's the thing. So that gives the Jets the potential of not this year, because they're not going anyplace this year.
Yes.
Okay. But next year, if they have a good draft, a good free agency period next year, and maybe another good draft, maybe this team is a playoff caliber team. I don't know. Probably not. Probably another 2 years away from that.
Maybe.
But they will take another major step in that direction. And I'll tell you this much. If they fucking sign Cam Newton for a third year, you know what I mean? The Bengals. Forward left tackle. Got Bengals first round pick next year and another third. Bengals want Chase Bradley. I still think that the Jets just they need to prove to me that they could draft well.
Yeah.
And I don't want to really see them do it through trades.
Now,
I want to see them build a team. I understand that what he's saying, that's going to be front loading the team for now. But I want to see them draft their own guys so they have their own guys for the next 10 years.
I agree. See, now I would go with the scenario, Matt. Tell me if I'm crazy. If I were the Jets, I would take the best player at that spot, whether you want to go with one of the offensive linemen or you want to go with one of the receivers. I would love to see the Jets take a Waddle or Chase at that point. And then later in the first round,
throwing the ball though, Tom.
Wait, let me finish. Then in the second pick in that round, either maybe try to move up or whatever, and go grab a Mac Jones or a Sam Howell or somebody of that ilk and give them the chance and play football. Then, if you want, either you keep Donald and let him play, or you get rid of him and you bring in a veteran guy to play with one of those other guys. I just think taking one of these quarterbacks is a real risk that you can't throw away. I would grab one of these guys who's a future big time player at number 2, and with your 23rd pick, either try to move up or grab one of those secondary quarterback type guys and then bring in a veteran guy. Go get a vet to play. I agree with you, Jeff. I think Sam Darnold's done in New York. I don't think you can make him a better player. I don't think you can put enough around him. I think he needs to move on. But I just don't like the Jets taking that quarterback in their pick because I don't think it works. So I would personally take
then now the next scenario that I would love to see them get ATN.
I agree with that.
Like that. And he's been linked to the Jets in a lot of different mocks.
Listen, I think if in a perfect scenario they can grab a quarterback at number 2 and ATN at number 23, I think it's a great draft for the Jets already. You could stop right there. It's a great draft. The problem is the quarterback they're going to get is nowhere near a sure thing, and then you kind of ruin your next couple of years because now you're stuck with another number 1 quarterback who can't play. Yes, Jeff, you're right. You can easily go ahead and draft another one the following year. I think the Cardinals have laid the groundwork for that. So I agree with you on that.
Listen, I understand you don't want to throw away your first rounder, and especially a high first rounder.
Absolutely.
Totally understandable.
Yeah.
But the way that the NFL is now, there's such a premium put on the quarterback position that if you don't hit it out of the box, dude, you have to look to move on. These guys have their shelf life seems to be one game at a time, sometimes not even one game at a time, a quarter at a time. And if they fail or they fuck up, right away they're looking like, well, next year this one will be available. Maybe they pick here, maybe they do this. There's no growing these guys for 2 or 3 years. That those days are like unheard of.
No, Jeff, I agree with you. That's why I'm afraid of this pick because it's not even like a couple of years ago where you have 3 or 4 guys who potentially are good players and Josh Allen and maybe Baker Mayfield and Sam. People thought highly of all these guys. Like I just don't put the next 3 guys in that category, and I hate to make that move. That's why I say.
Here's the thing too, and we've said it a couple times, and it's been in the papers and on computer websites, everything about Sam Darnold. Maybe he's worked this, maybe he's worked that, maybe he is, but nobody's made the offer to him.
No,
and the Jets still hold him. So now, what are you going to do? It's getting closer to draft day. You still haven't moved them.
Yeah.
So now, you know what I think? I think that your best you're going to get is a 4th or 5th round pick for this guy. I don't see you're not getting a first rounder for Sam Darnold.
No,
you're not getting a second rounder from Sam Darnold. And the thoughts of getting 2 picks from Sam Darnold are absolute, maybe a 4th and a 6th or a 5th and a 6th. You're not getting nothing premium for Sam Darnold.
I wholeheartedly agree from you. Jeff, I agree. I don't think there's a team out there right now. I think you could have. There's a lot of teams that would take a Sam Darnold, but you're right. You're going to give him away to do that. But here's the thing. If you bring in Zach Wilson, you're still going to have to put a veteran behind him. So why not let it be Darnold at this point? He knows the system, or at least he's been working on the system.
What do you mean he knows the system?
Well, he's had the playbook now for a few months. At least he's done something at this point.
Get rid of him. Get rid of him.
Jeff,
what you're doing is if Sam Darnold is on that roster opening day, you're just creating a quarterback controversy.
Maybe.
Because if you're starting a rookie and he throws 1 interception
Yeah, but
he's looking over his shoulder for Sam.
How many Jet fans are clamoring for Sam Darnold week one? You as a Jet fan, you're going to live with how good or bad this first round pick plays because you don't want Sam Darnold to play. Sam Darnold is there strictly because they couldn't get anything for him and strictly to have a guy on the sideline who could jump in if he had to. Sam Darnold,
Sam Darnold's there right now because the fucking Jets hierarchy thought that they were going to get fucking blown out of the water with offers and nothing happened.
Listen,
okay?
Yeah.
Now,
absolutely.
all of the quarterback fucking positions are almost filled and they still fucking got him.
Listen, Nick Foles still has a job. What's his name? Andy Dalton got a job. Cam Newton got re-signed. Fitzpatrick's quarterback in the league is the number one quarterback in Washington. I mean, yeah, if you're Sam Darnold, it does not reflect highly on you that nobody will move from you.
Alex Smith, okay, is probably the biggest name that I know of right now off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Quarterback that still isn't signed with anybody. Do you know any other quarterbacks?
Not that I can think of it, but I tell you what, that's actually a good. If the Jets were going to jettison Darnold or trade him for a bag of footballs, he might be a guy I would bring in to play behind your number one pick. I just, Paul, I don't disagree with you by putting the guy behind them with the rookie looking over his shoulder. I just don't think most of these guys behind Trevor Lawrence are NFL ready quarterbacks. I think some of them are projects and maybe down the road can be a good quarterback, but not one of these guys are ready to play day one. That's my only problem with the playing the rookie. And I think having an Alex Smith maybe starting the season for the Jets might be a good way to do this.
Listen, my point about bringing Alex Smith up is that here's a guy who's been in the league for God knows how many years.
Yeah.
And yes, I know we got cut late. I understand that.
Yep.
But he's still not signed yet.
Agreed.
Okay. So when you look at some of the guys that are left, and there's not many left.
No, not many out there.
Okay. And there hasn't been many. I mean, right now, Denver, what do they got? Drew Lock, that kid's name is over there?
Yes, Drew Lock.
Okay. They're not contacting the Jets.
Yes.
And they may be out of any kind of fucking quarterback pick. Okay. The 49ers, they were linked to Donald in the very beginning before free agency hit. They didn't do nothing.
Yep.
Sam Darnold is still with the Jets. I'm telling you, watch, he's either going to get cut or he's going to get traded for a fucking kicking tee and a 5th round pick. I'm going to write it down right now. 5th round pick. I'm telling you.
Hard Rockin' Sports. That's Jeff. I'm Tom. We're here every Thursday night, 7 to 9:30. We're a little past it tonight. We're going to go a few more minutes. Make sure you come on back next week. We'll do it all over again. And make sure on the NFL draft night on April 27th, you tune up. We'll be doing at least the first 10 picks, probably the first 11. That'll be the Giants, unless there's a trade. And we'll break it down with our panel of NFL experts. And of course, we should
do the first 10 picks.
Oh God, please!
Then come back for 12.
Do you want to do 5 minutes on the Giants, or you want to call it a night?
No, I'm ready. I'm fucking. I gotta go to work tomorrow, man. But I want to get.
I'm off tomorrow, so I'm.
So let's do this, man.
Okay, so let's go to the Giants a little bit. John Mara, who's the owner of the Giants, one of the owners, came out this week and he kind of said, "Listen, I'm optimistic. We went out and spent a lot of money in free agency because we like the way the team is built. We like the coaching staff, and you know what." Bravo for him. I want an owner who's optimistic and is willing to spend money on his team and throw some confidence behind his quarterback and his coach. Jeff, let me forget about what the Giants did or how you think of the players. Do you like that the owners he's into it. He's pumped up a little bit and he's trying to at least spend the money to put the product out there. It might not be great, but he spent the product money on the best people available.
Well, Tom, listen, we've seen it happen many times before in football where people try to buy the best team they could possibly, because that's lack of a better term. Yeah. They try to buy the best team they could possibly put out there, and it doesn't always work out. Okay. I still think that you need an upgrade on that offensive line. Okay. I think that offensive line needs some help. I really honestly and truly think that, I mean, it's a little shocking, but understandable that it's been in the papers that maybe Barkley doesn't get extended yet.
Oh,
he doesn't get a second deal.
Oh, absolutely. I think there's a huge possibility. And I said it 2 weeks ago.
I think there's a good possibility that next year at this time, he's a free agent.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, I think last year taught me one thing about the NFL today's NFL, and watching Wayne Gallman play last season, he played great football for a lot less money. Now I love Saquon Barkley.
But he's not even on the team anymore.
Well, he did not get. Again, same reason, because he played really well. Now he wants bigger money. Obviously, he's ready for it. But to me, what it showed me was you don't have to pay a guy $10 million a year to play running back in this league. Now, I love Saquon. I hope he comes out and runs for 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns and catches another 600 yards and passes and forces the Giants to give him the deal. But what it showed me missing him last year, the Giant running game did not fall off that much. Wayne Gallman had a great season, especially second half. So, yeah, I don't believe that you're going to see. I don't think it's a guarantee that he gets the.
I knew what you were reading. I could tell by your face.
Yeah, but to me, I don't think it's set in stone that Saquon Barkley gets a second contract. I'll almost be surprised.
I think that the Giants this year, they really need to fucking know, the sooner the better, the faster the possible, what the story is with Daniel Jones. If I'm the Giants and Giant fans, and I already know, I could see by the look on that face. Yeah, I could tell, because they're never going to say it. But I'm just afraid, as the New York Jets are, about the quarterback situation this year, as the Giants should be with Daniel Jones. Nobody's admitting it. He doesn't show much in the way of growth, Tommy.
No, I disagree. I don't.
You don't go from 24 touchdowns to 11 and call it growth, bro.
But I think that the first half of last year, the offensive line was atrocious. They got much better second half. Yes, I agree with you, Jeff. I think he could have been better last year. I think there's some parts of his game that were better, some parts of his game that weren't. I agree. And this is a big year for him. You're absolutely right. He cannot go out there this year and throw 11 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. They've given him, you get Barkley back. You got Kyle Rudolph if he's going to be healthy, which looks like he will be. You're giving him Galladay. I think the offensive line is better, and it will be better now. They'll do more with this offensive line this year with another full season. So if Daniel Jones comes out and is pedestrian, yes, the Giants will have a big decision to make, and they'll make it. I believe in my heart that Daniel Jones is the right quarterback and will be their quarterback the next few years. I don't know if he's going to be, an MVP candidate. I hope he's good enough. That's the way I look at it. I hope he's good enough. We'll see.
Remember Monty Python?
Vaguely, but yeah, yeah.
Remember the night that the Black Knight met when he crossed the bridge?
Uh-huh.
And he got his arm cut off?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, Jones, Hall of Fame 2031.
I'll wait you, Paul.
You can't even look over the counter, Paul. Stop it.
Danny does. Okay. I agree with you, Paul.
If Daniel Jones happened to meet the Black Knight from Monty Python and got his arm cut off, you'd still sit there and say that Daniel Jones was a great quarterback.
No, I'm always honest. I really do. I've seen enough of Daniel Jones to say the first year was not an aberration. Daniel Jones was not an aberration his rookie year. I thought he came out to surprise some teams, and he had a better season than he probably should have. Last year, a new system. A lot of new offensive linemen last year. No Saquon. It's a different ball game. I expect bigger things. Now, can it step down and not do it again? Absolutely. I don't believe that's going to happen. I think this kid's ready for a bigger season. 4,000 yards. I think he's going to put touchdowns on the board. This is a better offensive team, and we'll see. Again, if he shits the bed, Jeff, then the Giants got a big problem on their hands, but. I believe in this thing, but I like the owners. I like the way the owner came out, and he said, "Listen, honest, I don't know."
You have to say that though, Tom. Even if your team, everybody says your team is going 1-15, you got to say that we have the pieces in place. We got the building blocks. This is a team that can win. Nobody comes out and says, "You know what? Dude, we're going to finish in third fucking place this year."
I agree
Nobody
with you.
says that.
But he came out and backed it up with his money. See, look at the Jets. The Jets had more money than anybody to spend in free agency. They didn't necessarily spend it. The Jets were a bad team last year. There's nobody.
It's gonna be a bad team this year too.
Agreed. So if you're the Jets, why did you hold on to the money? Why not have thrown some money at a Zeitler? Why didn't you go out there and try to get a Kenny Galladay? Now maybe these guys didn't want to come here. I get all of that. But I'm saying is my forget about what Maris said. I agree with you, Jeff. He can't come out and say, well, we're going to suck. Our coach is disappointing and our quarterback should be flipping burgers.
No, I gotta stop you right there. I think the Giants have a coach.
Right.
I think that they have a coach, and I think that he should be given a chance.
Absolutely.
I really believe that. I don't think that they have a general manager.
I disagree with that. Go ahead.
Okay. I think he should have been gone. I mean, come on. 14, 15 wins in 4 years. He's got to go.
Well, I'm not. Some of that's the sins of the past, but again, his drafts have been really good. His second, third, and fourth round picks are all hanging around.
Just because they're hanging around, Tom, doesn't mean anything. It could be his lack of knowledge of keeping these fucking people.
No, but I'm not. When I say hanging around, they're still playing and making contributions.
Where's the hog mollies this jerk off was talking about?
Again, if you watch them every week, I think Nick Gates has been a steal and played really well his first year ever as a center in football, let alone in the NFL. Did a really nice job. Andrew Thomas came on the second half of the season and played really well like left tackle. I love Lemieux and Pert. They're I think good, solid football players. I think this year there's going to be a major step in the right direction. So, yeah, I agree with you. It was a little disappointing early on. It got better. It needs to be even better this year. If he fails this year, then I agree with you. He's going to go, and his memory will be he failed. But I think he's nailed it, Jeff. I really do.
Let me ask you this: the Giants. A couple questions.
Go ahead.
The Giants' offensive line.
Yep.
Do you see them together as a unit in 3 years? As they're built today.
See, that's the problem. It's tough in this NFL. To me, 4 years and you turn it over teams. Do I see it?
So in 3 years they should be at their peak.
I agree. No, I do. I do see them. I like Lemieux at left guard. I love Thomas. I love Nick Gates at center. I'm questioning Pert at right tackle, and I don't think Hernandez will be there at right guard this year. So
now, why won't he be at right guard there this year?
His first year or two on the team, Hernandez was great. He was a road grader. Last year he took a major step backwards, and he lost his starting left guard job, and they actually going to move him over to the right side this year and give him an opportunity to play. I don't know. Sometimes guys just don't take that next step. This is a big season for him. But they brought in a couple veteran guys to challenge him. We'll see. I think if there's a spot that could be a problem, it's going to be right guard this year. And the right tackle, I like Pert out of UConn. But they also have Solder, who's going to play right tackle. So, again, I think that the line's going to be good. 3/5 of it I could see together in 3 years. The other two spots, I'm a little questioning. But, not out of the realm of possibility for these guys being together 3 years from now, for sure. I do. So, we got another question.
We'll see. The next question pertains to the Jets.
Go ahead.
Okay. Now, we know that they need a lot of different pieces. Mm-hmm. Okay. What are your thoughts of the Jets signing Richard Sherman for 1 year and at least having some leadership?
I would do it
back there in the defensive backfield.
I think Sherman's a fraction of what he was during the Legion of Boom. But, yeah, I think that's a big piece of that is you'll let him come in, even if he's not a full-time guy, maybe he's playing in the nickel, dime packages. But I think a guy in the locker room like Richard Sherman, and again, I'm not a huge fan of the guy, but he knows Saleh's system, having played for the guy. And I think it's always, it's like the Giants bringing in Logan Ryan last year. It was such a, while not the greatest player in the whole world, he played really well for them. He was in the nickel. He was in the slot corner. He played safety. But in the locker room, he was a big presence, and he went out this year, helped recruit Galladay. Yeah, Jeff, I agree with you. I think bringing Richard Sherman in would be a really, really smart move for the Jets. With the money they have to spend, I don't see how it could hurt.
I don't think it could hurt either. And I kind of was hoping that he was going to be one of the picks, and I'm kind of surprised that him and a few of the other bigger names are still out there. Javanian Clowney, him, a couple other names. I'm just like, wow, these guys are still floating around.
Because Clowney's looking for $20 million a year, and he's not that player. Clowney's a good player. Clowney's a good player, but he's not the guy who comes off the edge and get you, 10, 12 sacks a season. So Clowney will go to somebody, but the question is, how long will it take?
Perfect fit for Clowney. Go to Cleveland, team up with Myles Garrett.
I agree.
You know, and take some of the pressure off yourself and some of the pressure off of Garrett. You can build a monster line out there.
Yeah.
And then maybe, but you know what? He's getting too old now. That's the point too with him.
You know, again,
27. He is 27, 28. He'll be 28, I believe, by the end of this year.
But to me, if you're a team, see, there's another guy. If I'm the Jets, I'm thinking about, I'll give him a 2-year deal for a little extra money that I want to spend and give him an opportunity to shore up that defensive line. Yeah, but I think Cleveland is the right place for him. I agree with you 100%. But,
the more I read. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just think that he would be a nice fit for the Jets at the right price. But, yeah, he's just pricing himself out of football right now.
The more that I read about this kid that they picked up from Cincinnati, the defensive end,
awesome.
Seems like he's going to work well with Quentin Williams.
Yes,
because it's going to be take the heat off of each other a little bit, and a lot of people seem like this guy is going to make the next jump up, and they've signed a lot of these guys on the 2-year deals, 3-year deals.
Yeah.
So they're not really tied in all of that long. They could get rid of these guys that they signed relatively quickly. That's the only thing I'll say about Douglas. He's signing mid-level players.
Yes.
Where I feel as though that he should go out and at least go after a name. Even if you're chasing him down the street, you know that you're not going to get him. Like chasing the ice cream man.
Yeah.
You could chase him. You know he's not going to stop, but you're going to give it the college try because you want that fucking cone right now. Okay? Go after the ice cream man. Try to get somebody. They didn't do it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. I think that they could have spent more money and brought a couple more veteran guys. Again, a guy like Kevin Zeitler on the offensive line would bring veteran leadership and other. I think Sherman's a great thought by you. I think Sherman would be a big locker room guy and help teach that system for that team. So I agree. I can't agree more. And I do think Lawson was going to be a good fit on that team. He's been a guy who's been inconsistent. But sometimes you go to the right coach and the right system, and you play. And I think Quentin Williams from year 1 to year 2 was a major difference.
Huge jump.
Huge, absolutely a huge jump. I mean, we said it the night of the draft. He looked like a baby. I mean, he looked like he was 15 years old.
Yeah, now he's getting caught with loaded guns in airports.
But at the very least, I saw a major jump in his play, and I think you're right. If you can give him a couple of more pieces next to him, I think that kid will really. He's an Aaron Donald kind of guy. Like he's that kind of player. I don't think he'll get to that point, but he's that kind of.
Somebody's got to be the next Aaron Donald, bro.
Yeah, again, I think he has the ability.
This is a big year for him. If he takes a major jump, I think it's big.
I agree.
It's big.
I agree.
The problem is that any defensive line that the Jets, no matter who it is, always going to be compared to the Sack Exchange.
Well, listen. I mean, that line was overrated in the sense that it was. Listen, Gastineau being the top guy and a one-way player. I mean, realistically, Kaleko was the best one on that line, and Marty Lyons and Abdul Salam were no slouches. They were good football players. They were all probably better than Gastineau. He just had the name for the sacks, but it's tough to be compared to that because you're never going to have that kind of thing again. It's just almost impossible.
Well, it's a great line.
Oh, listen, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I love Joe Clark. I think Joe Clark is one of the most underrated players, and it's a shame he's not in the Hall of Fame. The guy is easily a Hall of Famer in my eyes. So I think that's disgusting that guy never made it. But listen, I think here's the thing. We're going to start bringing out more football. We're going to do a lot more coming up with the draft. We'll do even more, and we'll get more into the teams and what the weaknesses are. But this really is going to be an interesting number 2 pick for the Jets because it looks like they've locked in. They don't look like any reason they want to trade that pick. I think they're all in on Zach Wilson. And listen, I hope it works out because if it doesn't, it's a big problem. But the Jets are set up. They got a lot of draft picks. They still got money to spend. You never know, Jeff, who's going to wind up getting cut and going into camps.
You're right. You don't know, but I just don't see them. I don't see it working well. But I got a question about the Giants.
Go ahead.
Okay? Because it's only fair to ask a question about the Giants.
Why not?
Because of all of the clamor over who's going to go number 2 and all of the moves being done, I know the Giants have their share of picks too.
Yeah.
Are the Giants flying under the radar at this point in time?
Yes.
Like, do you think they're quietly navigating through the offseason?
No. Here's the thing. They're still signing players. They signed a bunch of guys today, and they get a chance to really look into it. The Giants are signing a lot of guys, and they've set themselves up really well in the draft. And I'll tell you why. Because they filled a lot of the needs. They needed a number one wideout. They got one. They needed another corner. They got one. So I think the Giants have set themselves up for the number 11 pick to where they can they can trade back a couple picks if they wanted to and still get a guy. I think the Giants at 11 have an ability to take anything they want. They can legitimately, for the first time, and I hate the term best player available, but they can literally go, oh, Devonta Smith is still here. We'll take him. Micah Parsons is here. We'll take him. The kid from Miami, the defensive end, we could Rousseau, I think his name is. We could take him. The Giants have done an amazing job. And again, who knows if all these pieces work out? But to the point where they already picked up their number 2 corner. They've already picked up their number 1 wide receiver. They can literally take anything they want and shore up a position or fix a position, and you can't go wrong. So they didn't fly under the radar because I think most people didn't expect them to go out and spend the money that they did. They had no cap room. They literally, the day of the draft, the day of free agency, they had like $14 million, and they signed a ton of players because they moved money around. And I think the Giants did a great job with this offseason. Does it work? I don't know, Jeff. You're right. You never know if it's going to be, if signing Galladay and Dory Jackson and all the guys they did, that it doesn't matter. I don't know. But for the draft, the Giants have set themselves up to do whatever they want. I hope it's a linebacker. I hope it's Micah Parsons because I think that's the biggest need still to be filled. But if they took Waddle or Devonta Smith or Patrick Surtain, the corner, or the kid Hooks that Matt said, I'll take anybody because it just makes your team better.
No, listen, I hear you. It's just I think right now that there's a lot of teams flying under the radar.
Yes.
Simply because of all of the hype that every day something new between the player days or whatever the fuck. Yeah. I can't think. I'm tired. And all of the hype about the trades, the number 2 pick, who's going number 2, like the Trevor Lawrence. Not for nothing, the guy's going to be the first pick in the draft. He's like lost.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking about him.
No, because it's a foregone conclusion. Yeah, you're right. It's a foregone conclusion.
So he's going to be the biggest fucking player taken in God knows how long. And everybody's going to be like, okay, forget him. Let's go right on to the number 2 pick.
That's the intriguing pick, right? Because we all know that Trevor Lawrence is going number 1. We all know what he is. Will he be a great player? We'll find out. But he's going to be number 1. So the big question now is, what do the Jets do at number 2? That is going to be the pick. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But listen, this draft is fun. I mean, and real quick, the Eagles trade down in the draft. They're number 6. They trade down. The Dolphins, they trade down to 12, then trade up to number 6, get a bunch more picks. The Dolphins have really done a quietly good job in the offseason. I don't know if they can.
Got 10 picks.
I have to go. I haven't had a chance to nail it down, but they trade down to get the number 12 pick with the 49ers. They get extra picks from there. They move back up and to number 6 with the Eagles and don't give up all that much to get there. And they've quietly done a nice job in the offseason. Now, again, there's a lot of people in their way, with the Bills, maybe the Patriots. And they still might have a quarterback problem. We don't know, but done a nice job. But listen, I think this is next couple of weeks. We're going to do a lot of deep dives into some of these teams, especially the first 10, 12 picks, and we'll see how it shakes up. But I think we should let you go and get some sleep tonight.
Would be nice.
Yeah. So
we'll 4:30. Why are you off tomorrow for Good Friday?
Well, I just I was my main job has been shut down, and I got moved up. Well, it got shut down for Jewish holiday. The owners of the building are Jewish, and you can't work on their jobs during the Passover week.
Oh, okay.
So I got moved up to another job, and I was supposed to have an easy week, but my super up there, his wife had a baby, and he needed to take some time off. So I had a rough week. I had a lot of late days, and I went to my boss yesterday and said, listen, I'm tired. I'm taking Friday off. And he said, well, talk to the guys. A lot of times the guys don't want, hey, Paul, good night, pal. A lot of times they want Good Friday off. So the boys got together, said they didn't want to work, so they shut the job down. I think the day off. So it's that simple.
Nice. So I'm only going in for 4 hours because my wife is home tomorrow, and she'll be starting a new job on Monday. So
good
she's
stuff.
not going to be able to take much time off anytime soon.
Oh.
So I'm going to take off, just work a couple hours tomorrow because it's overtime.
Yeah.
So I'll work a few hours and then come home and hang with her and chase her around the house. Maybe I'll catch her.
Well, I'm hoping to spend a good part of the day playing that. I got a lot of songs to learn. We should, by the way, it's on honing in on the song list for when we do get to practice again. But listen, we've had a lot of fun tonight, and I'm thankful for the time. It's 10 o'clock, so let's end this thing right now. Thanks to Ryan Thomas and Eric Rolfson from the band Turbo Snake. Thanks to everybody at RFL Records for setting it up. Thanks to
I got to say, those guys were actually pretty cool.
Yes.
When I saw the video you posted earlier, I'm like, what the fuck is this? And they actually turned out to be pretty cool, man. So I'm curious to see what they bring to the table next. And definitely a 80s hair metal band without a fucking doubt. But are they serious? Are they goofing or what? You know what I mean?
I'll send you their music so you can listen to it. You can actually catch it on YouTube, and I'll send it to you. They sent me some stuff, and they sent me a message during the show, and they would so thank the both of us, and they had a blast, and they obviously want to come on again, and it was really cool of them to say. So they said some nice stuff. So thanks to both Ryan and Eric for popping on again. Thanks to everybody at RFL Records. Thanks to Matt Salitri for popping up. And Jeff, we got a lot of people check this out tonight. I mean, we really had a good night. People commenting along the way. We must be interesting, I guess.
Yeah. Hey,
We'll see.
what was that page that you
Which page?
suggested me to follow the other day? Was it that person that's following us? Is that their page?
Oh, it's Barstool, and I was on I did the RFL show talking to Fastlane with this guy Sean McKenna. He runs a page with us for bands, and it's all music stuff and
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, he's a cool guy, and it's a pretty good page. So I just sent it to you to see if you'd jump in on it. But
Yeah, I did. If as long as you send it, I'm on it.
yeah, it's the same thing. When you send me stuff, I jump on it. So, but hey guys, listen, enjoy your Good Friday for all our Jewish listeners. Happy Passover, and yes, I hope everybody has a great Easter. And come on back next Thursday. Jeff and I will be doing this all over again. And tonight was a blast. I can't tell you, I could do this all night, but it's time to call this one a night. So, Jeff, you got anything you want to end with?
No, man. I gotta get the bed ready, get the dog in it, and go to sleep.
All right. So for Jeff, myself, and everybody here at Hard Rockets wants to say thanks for listening. Have a safe weekend. Have a happy holiday weekend. And we'll see you back here right here on the Hard Rockets Sports Show next Thursday night, 7 o'clock. Tune in, catch us, and have a great night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Jeff, see you later, brother.
Later, man.
Later. Good night, everybody.
Bye.